At this moment, they were being intimate. The woman shyly pressed her finger against the man's lips, trying to stop him. "Honey, we're about to get divorced." But the man kissed her directly, sealing her lips. "As long as the divorce papers aren't signed, you're still Mrs. Liam Bowe. We should enjoy the moment while we can, cherish every time we have." The next morning, Rania Sue dragged her tired body out of bed. As usual, the man helped her zip up her dress. Then he naturally wrapped his arms around her from behind. "Since we're getting divorced soon, the show's almost over. If you don't want to go, then don't." But Rania seriously replied, "Grandfather treated me very kindly. I want to see him one last time and say goodbye." Liam Bowe calmly replied, "All right then. I'll have Alex Song take you." The woman watched his back as he walked away, clearly realizing he didn't want to make her public. During their 4 years of marriage, outsiders only knew that the CEO of the Bowe Group had a young wife, but no one had ever seen her. She existed only as a rumor. A light rain began to fall as friends and relatives gathered to send the old man off on his final journey. Liam Bowe stood before the tombstone, recalling his grandfather's face and laughter when he was alive, his heart aching with grief. Just then, Rania approached quietly, holding a bouquet of lilies. She knelt down in the rain with a soft thud and bowed 3 times to the old man. Everyone was stunned. Who was this beautiful woman? Among the Bowe family's grandchildren, none would kneel except Mr. Bowe himself. Didn't they say Mr. Bowe had a young wife? But he didn't even let her come to something like this. Guess he doesn't care about her. I heard they're in the middle of a divorce. After paying her respects, Rania turned to leave, but a young man suddenly rushed after her. He shouted angrily, "Now that Grandpa's gone, let's see how long you can stay so smug." The speaker was Ethan Bowe, the second young master of the Bowe family, Liam Bowe's half-brother. Rania looked at him coolly and asked, "You came all this way just to say that?" Ethan glared at the woman who always pretended to be so obedient in front of everyone. "I'm warning you, don't even dream of getting a single cent from the Bowe family's fortune." Rania let out a soft laugh. "Are you done? Then I guess this is goodbye." The second young master couldn't accept her attitude and shouted from behind, "One day, I'll expose your true colors." Rania watched the rain falling from the sky and recalled the first time she met Liam Bowe. Back then, she stood blank-faced at the entrance of a hospital, asking over and over if anyone was willing to marry her. Passers-by thought she was crazy. Coincidentally, Liam happened to need a wife urgently, so he took her in, this pitiful woman. Now that his grandfather, who had treated her like a granddaughter, was gone, their 4-year marriage drama had finally come to an end. Rania returned to the private villa she had secretly purchased. The bodyguards in black immediately bowed respectfully when they saw her. The young butler, Jaden Jong, looked surprised as he rushed to greet her. "Boss, you're back already?" Rania smiled slightly. "I'm divorced." Jaden was stunned. "Your husband was every woman's dream. Liam Bowe is insanely handsome. You really let him go?" Rania headed into the study, typing away on her keyboard. "Enough chatter. Give me the new season's sales report." While speaking, she hacked into the city's traffic system, wiping all traces of her movements from the surveillance records. Just then, her phone rang. It was Liam calling. "Where are you? It's late. Why aren't you home yet?" Rania replied coolly, "Mr. Bowe, have you forgotten? We're already divorced." Liam frowned. "As long as I haven't signed the papers, the divorce isn't valid. Be good and come home for now." His tone sounded like that of a caring husband urging his wife to come home. Rania teased, "All right, honey, wait for me for 30 minutes. The man heard the sound of a fingerprint lock opening. He looked up at her. "Where did you go?" Rania casually made up an excuse. "I'll have to move out soon. I spent the day house hunting." Liam closed his laptop. "You really don't want to consider taking this villa?" Rania walked up to him, playfully blinking her eyes. "I don't want to." The man pulled her straight onto his lap. "Don't you think it's a bit of a loss to walk away with nothing?" Rania gave him a seductive look. "In these 4 years, I've never argued with you or treated you poorly. You've always had the best food, clothes, and everything else. What have you ever lost?" Liam held her close. "Do you really feel nothing for me? As long as you're with me, you can have whatever you want." But to Rania, this marriage had only ever been a lifeline, nothing more. Once again, the man expressed his feelings through actions. Since the divorce was inevitable, why not cherish the time they had left? The next morning, while Rania was making breakfast, the man couldn't resist hugging her from behind. "How about we do it right here?" Rania's voice stayed soft. "The noodles are about to get mushy. Move." Internally, she couldn't help but grumble. Wasn't this man just like a clingy puppy who never behaved himself? Just then, the butler suddenly called out, "Sir, a Miss Wang is here to see you." She was the rising actress who had just been in a scandal with him that very morning. Liam looked at the woman at the door with mild irritation. "How did you even find this place?" He turned to glance at Rania. Normally, a wife would be upset seeing another woman show up at her husband's door, but she just continued eating her breakfast, completely unbothered. Annoyed, he said to the butler, "Let her in." Selena Wang's large eyes swept over the shoe rack. There sat a pair of women's shoes. The rumors that President Bo had a wife turned out to be true after all. After finishing her meal, Rania placed her bowl in the kitchen and turned to go upstairs. "Honey, remember to wash the dishes later," she said casually. Just as Selena stood there in shock, the man before her actually replied, "Okay, sweetheart." Then, with a blank expression, he looked at Selena. "I have to go wash the dishes now. Do you need anything else?" Selena was completely stunned. President Bo was supposed to be a cold, untouchable CEO, yet here he was acting like an ordinary husband. What kind of woman had that kind of power over him? After washing the dishes, Liam went upstairs. When Liam saw that Rania was wearing a dress in the same color as Selena's, but somehow looking even more elegant and stunning, he teasingly asked if she was jealous. Rania calmly replied, "If Miss Wang has feelings for you, I think that's great. Once we're divorced, you can just marry her as your new wife." Liam felt a flash of irritation and pulled her into his arms. This woman was always so obedient and sensible. He used to love that about her, but now, for some reason, it just made him furious. So he leaned close to her ear and whispered, "Come on a flight with me tonight. You've never been on my plane before." Rania felt a bit impatient inside. "Do I really have to go for that, too?" she thought. Out loud, she said sweetly, "Of course, as your wife, I wouldn't say no. I'd follow you anywhere, even through fire or storm." The CEO pilot himself personally tending to such a beautiful woman. It made all the flight attendants who secretly admired him green with envy. Half asleep, Rania blinked her eyes open and looked at him. "You're here? Then who's flying the plane?" He brushed her forehead lightly. "The co-pilot took over my shift. You're burning up." He then brought a cup of medicine to her lips, but Rania frowned, clearly unwilling to drink it. The man leaned in close, coaxing softly, "Be good and drink it. Don't make me feed you myself." Rania pouted playfully. "I'll drink it, but it's so bitter." Deep down, she just felt exhausted these past few days. Liam gently wiped the corner of her mouth. "Take care of yourself, okay? Don't make me worry." Rania nodded obediently. It seemed like she needed to speed up the divorce process. Things were getting increasingly unpredictable. When they arrived at their destination, the two stayed in a hotel. Rania thoughtfully massaged his shoulders. "Didn't we agree not to show affection in public?" she asked. He replied, "Why? You don't like it." "It's not that," she said. "It's just, we're getting divorced soon." Hearing her bring up divorce every single day, Liam lost his patience and pushed her onto the bed. "If you're in such a hurry, then let me help you get it over with." He gazed at her intently. "The entire Clear Lake district will be yours." "Oh, please," she said, "a divorce gift worth $280 million? I can't possibly accept that." "Rania Sue, what could there possibly be that you can't accept?" The sound of the clerk's stamp echoed through the office. Each holding a divorce certificate, they walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Liam's cold voice broke the silence. "Where are you going? I'll take you." Rania calmly declined. "No need." The man frowned slightly. His once gentle, obedient wife, why had she suddenly turned so distant and cold? Rania waved toward the opposite side of the street as a sleek Land Rover pulled up to the curb. From the driver's seat stepped a familiar young man, Jaden Zhang, the CEO of Serenity Pharma. He greeted Liam warmly. Then he took Rania's luggage and placed it in the trunk. Liam frowned as he watched her get into the passenger seat. So that's why she'd been in such a hurry to divorce. She already had someone else. Rania waved at him with a bright, radiant smile. In 4 years of marriage, she had always been gentle and reserved, never smiling so freely. From now on, she would never coquettishly call him honey again. Maybe that was for the best. Peace and quiet suited him just fine. Instead of returning to her villa, Rania went to the Southern Mountain Cemetery. Kneeling before the Bo family patriarch's grave, she whispered, "Grandfather, I'm sorry. Liam and I are divorced now. I hope you won't blame me from the other side. I'll come visit you whenever I can." She finished speaking and turned to leave, but she saw him standing not far away. Of all places, they had to run into each other right after parting ways. What a cruel twist of fate. Expressionless, Rania walked past him. Liam reached out and grabbed her arm. "What are you doing here?" "I came to visit grandfather," she replied. "Then what's your relationship with Jaden Zhang?" he pressed. "Did you want a divorce because of him?" She struggled to break free from his grasp, not even glancing back as she strode away. Liam froze for a moment. Could this really be the gentle, delicate Rania he once knew? Call came in from his assistant, Alex Song. "Sir, Selena Wang had a cable accident on set and broke her leg. She's been taken to the hospital." Liam replied calmly, "Have her wait there. I'll be there right now." At the hospital, Alex hurriedly gave him a quick update on Selena's condition. Liam looked up but paused in his steps. At the end of the corridor, a group of people had just exited the elevator. Leading them was a woman in a white coat. It was his ex-wife, Rania, whom he had just seen. There was no denying it, this woman was stunning, and she looked amazing in anything she wore. He couldn't help but picture them together intimately in his mind. A nurse announced that everything was ready and the surgery could begin. Rania walked past Liam with a cold demeanor. She reminded everyone behind her to focus and stay sharp. Alex couldn't believe it and quietly asked, "Sir, you're sure that was Miss Rania just now?" Liam ground his teeth and said, "It was her." Could this really be his uneducated, clumsy wife? She hadn't even had a proper job and didn't finish college, had she? Alex hesitated. Then what about Miss Wang? Liam barely paid attention to Selena, only instructing him to handle things, as long as he wasn't dragged into any media hype. Liam pulled a young nurse aside and reluctantly asked if the doctor from earlier was really someone named Rania. The nurse jumped in surprise. "You mean Dr. Rania? She's amazing. Many senior patients fight to be treated by her." Liam was completely stunned. The young, famous doctor from all the rumors was Rania Sue. Now this woman was icy cold, so different from the sweet, gentle young wife at home. Were they really two completely different people? Could it be that she had been pretending all along? Rania finished the surgery and walked out. She noticed Liam once again waiting by the door. Exhausted, she didn't want to pay any attention to him. Being ignored again, Liam pressed her against the wall. "All these years? Have you been lying to me?" Rania's expression was cold. She thought to herself, this is just the beginning. The man lifted her chin. "Answer me." Rania replied calmly, "As you can see, there's nothing to explain." Suddenly, a young nurse rushed over. "Dr. Rania, the director would like you to give a lecture to the interns." Seeing the awkward closeness between the two of them, the nurse immediately turned red and looked away. Rania took the opportunity to push the dangerous man away. Liam asked the young nurse, "Is Dr. Rania really that reputable at this hospital?" With an expression full of admiration, the nurse said, "Of course. She passed the university entrance exam at 15 with top honors, studied at a leading medical institute, then came here and quickly rose to the top position in surgery. She's a true legend." Liam was stunned once again. "Rania Sue, how many things are there about you that I don't know?" In the CEO's office, a senior manager nervously reported, "President Bo, your visit to Selena Wang has already hit the top of the trending charts. How would you like us to handle it?" But Liam seemed lost in thought and asked suddenly, "Years ago? Did you ever hear of a 15-year-old genius who topped the university entrance exam?" A senior manager thought for a moment. Yes, she was a top student in the sciences and even skipped grades, but that news was quickly suppressed. Liam sank into thought again. When he married her, he had assumed Rania had never attended university. How on earth did she manage to suppress all that information? The door suddenly swung open. A youth with a striking appearance, carefree and bold, walked in. It was the little music prodigy of Bo Entertainment, Kai Jiang. "Oh my, I have no inspiration at all. My idol has been busy with a divorce recently and hasn't had time to write songs for me." "By the way, Mr. Liu, what are you doing standing there like you're being punished?" Liu groaned internally. This little rascal usually speaks without a filter, but in front of the CEO, couldn't he at least hold back a bit? Liam's gaze fell on the youth. "Why did you come to see Mr. Liu?" Kai finally saw the CEO behind his desk and awkwardly greeted him. "My idol, the lyricist Seraph, has been busy with a divorce lately and hasn't been writing for me. But he gave me a script, and I want to try acting instead." Mr. Liu quickly tugged him aside. "This is a small matter, just tell me. President Bo doesn't have time to manage whether you act or not. Go outside." Kai's stubborn side flared up. "He's never supported me before. This time, in front of President Bo, I have to say it." But when he saw the CEO's intimidating expression, he hesitated. Hearing that the legendary music elder Seraph was also going through a divorce slightly lifted Liam's bad mood. An elder's divorce doesn't matter, haven't I divorced too? But immediately he frowned. Why was he thinking such strange thoughts? Where was his calm, his logic? He scanned the senior managers coldly and said, "It's good for young people to have their own ideas. Send me this script. If it's really good, Kai can have the role." As work ended, Mr. Liu smiled and asked which restaurant he wanted to reserve. Liam blurted out, "The Jade Pavilion." Then he realized his slip. Wasn't that Rania's favorite restaurant? She was probably using a pity tactic, lying in her hospital room blaming her manager. "How could this happen? I'm seriously injured, and President Bo still hasn't visited. Did you even tell him?" The manager comforted her, saying not to worry, he would come eventually. Selena glared at her swollen foot, which looked like a dumpling. "This is all your fault for giving such bad advice. You said I'd be fine, and now I've twisted my ankle. The manager looked helpless. Miss, it's already lucky you don't need surgery. But if we told President Bo it required surgery and invited the media, just his appearance would send it straight to the top of the trending charts. At that moment, a knock sounded at the door. Both their faces lit up, but Selena immediately changed her expression, feigning weakness. When she saw it was Liam's assistant, Alex Song, she couldn't help but raise her voice. Why are you here? Where's President Bo? Alex quickly read her thoughts. Sir sent me to check on you. Selena sighed in disappointment. Looks like I won't be walking for a while. Alex left her with a final reminder. Rest well. The film crew will handle all communications. And then turned to leave. Just as he stepped out, a loud crash sounded from behind. Liam, listening on the phone, shook his head in exasperation. With that attitude and still thinking of being Mrs. Bo? Dream on. Jade and Zhang hurried to the restaurant. Seeing Rania waiting there, poised and elegant, he couldn't help but grumble to himself. It's so hot today, and I walked all the way from the office drenched in sweat. I'm really working like a horse just for the boss. Rania smiled and said, All right, a little treat for you. I ordered only what you like. Jaden took a sip of red wine and asked the boss, Now that you're divorced, do you have any plans next? Rania replied indifferently, I just found a new job. Jaden couldn't hold back and ended up spitting out all the wine he'd just drunk. Luckily, Rania dodged in time, otherwise she'd have been drenched. She glared at him, annoyed. You're a CEO, can't you at least maintain your image? Jaden quickly grabbed a napkin to wipe his mouth and called the waiter to clean the table. Aren't you busy enough already? Why are you looking for another job? Rania's mood for the meal was completely ruined by this guy. She said, You'll learn eventually. First, show me the cooperation plan. To make discussion easier, Jaden decisively sat next to Rania. They began going over the plan together. Liam Bo entered the restaurant, accompanied by a group of people. He immediately noticed the two of them leaning close together. The sight made him uneasy, and his expression instantly turned cold. Rania also sensed the tense atmosphere and looked up. Wasn't that her ex-husband, President Bo? Running into him during a meal? What a small world. Jaden noticed Rania was reviewing the plan and suddenly went quiet. He stood up with a smile and approached. I was wondering who that was. Oh, it's President Bo. Liam's voice was cold. Mr. Zhang, eating with your girlfriend? Why not join us instead? Jaden replied, Fine, but I should ask my girlfriend first. Jaden and Rania quietly discussed how to handle it. Finally, Rania politely said, Since President Bo invited us, of course we can't refuse. Rania was about to sit at the far end of the table, keeping her distance from Liam, when the CEO coldly said, The air conditioning is too strong over there, sit next to me. The senior managers whispered among themselves, The boss is actually inviting Jaden Zhang's girlfriend? What's going on? Isn't he already married? Rania propped her chin and tilted her head at him, silently thanking President Bo for his consideration. She elegantly and leisurely sat next to him. Liam couldn't help but feel his heart stir. She was beautiful even without makeup, just like before. Rania signaled the nearby waiter, Bring me a large sundae, please. Liam suddenly leaned close to her ear. You're on your period. You shouldn't be eating that. Rania felt her ears heat up. She didn't expect that President Bo would even remember such details. Divorced as they were, he still knew her special days. Was this man trying to be perverse? Liam took a sip of tea and returned to his usual cold, distant demeanor. He was used to it. Jaden clenched his fists, lowered his head, and tried to hide the sadness in his eyes. The two sundaes that had just been served were immediately ordered to be taken away by Liam in his domineering manner. The waiter trembled, apologizing. I can't. These were ordered by Miss Rania. A senior manager quickly added, We'll pay for this table. The waiter politely bowed. Even if you pay, I cannot serve it. I only take orders from Miss Rania. The senior manager was momentarily stunned. Could she really be some important figure, to the point of ignoring President Bo's authority? Rania let out a small smile. Never mind, I won't eat it. Jaden immediately flattered her. Let me carry your bag, please. Even more astonishing, every single staff member in the restaurant, including the managers, respectfully escorted her to the front door. Liam's face darkened to the point it looked like it might bleed ink. She'd only been divorced a few days, yet she was openly flirting with Jaden Zhang, and now this ambiguous display, coming and going as a pair, was unbearable. The senior managers wore strange expressions. This Rania Su could summon Jaden Zhang, CEO of Serenity Pharma, at will. Even President Bo had never received such treatment. Only she could make the big boss this furious. Back at home, she changed into comfortable, dry clothes, opened her laptop, and asked Anya Lin, her superior, what the situation was. Anya said the other party was offering $500,000. Would she accept? Rania smiled faintly. Of course I'll accept. Who's asking for help? Send me the documents and their requirements. Anya paused. The other party has anonymized their information. Rania squinted slightly. Hiding the information, huh? Seems they don't want us to trace it. Anya said, this is a very tricky case. Your network tracing skills will be crucial. If you handle it, you could help thousands of people. Rania replied calmly, I'm not that great. Tell them I'll deliver in 3 days. 2 minutes after hanging up, she received the case details. She was to trace a man who had embezzled money, caused an accident, and fled. The man had been managing an unfinished real estate project, and employees left one by one due to unpaid wages. Meanwhile, the construction workers he had hired were left stranded, penniless. At this moment, somewhere abroad, a figure cowered, stealthily emerging from a trash bin. He had been hiding in Eastern Europe for 10 days. No one was chasing him for debts. Half a year had passed since the pursuit began, so they had likely given up. He found a small inn to clean up, then called the local gang leader. What kind of house do you want? It has to be a villa, at least with a pool and a garden. Money is no object. But he didn't know that back in the country, a woman was using advanced hacking skills to trace him. Rania worked through the night, shutting down her computer only at dawn. She flopped onto the soft, large bed and closed her eyes. Not long after falling asleep, the phone rang. Rania suppressed her irritation and answered. An indifferent voice came through. I heard you're Ethan Bowe's sister-in-law. Rania, already awakened and in a bad mood, asked sharply, What do you want? Half an hour later, Rania led someone to storm into the Zhang residence. Wasn't Caleb Zhang looking for me? Where is he now? 2 bodyguards sighed behind her. What nerve does the Zhang family have to mess with our boss? I don't think he'll be forgiving this time. This should be interesting. The second young master of the Bowe family had been tied up after losing a fight. In the living room, a tied-up youth lay on the floor casually. Ethan Bowe glared at her irritably. Why are you here? Rania's expression was cold. I'm obviously not here to pick you up. Ethan was taken aback. Ignored, Caleb Zhang stepped forward, furious. Who exactly was this woman? Did she even respect the Zhang family at all? Liu Zhang, his nose bruised and face swollen, shouted arrogantly from the stairs, You must handle Ethan properly! Ah, my mouth hurts! Rania's eyes narrowed slightly with a mischievous gleam. She raised a whip and struck. The troublemaker, Leo, felt it hit his calf, letting out a painful shriek. He collapsed to the floor and yelled, Where did you crazy woman come from? How dare you hit me? Rania said firmly, If you two hadn't been fighting, I wouldn't have been woken up. She then turned to look at the tied-up Ethan. You're always causing trouble. You're not exactly innocent either. Ethan struggled backward. What was she planning? She wasn't going to hit me too, right? But before he could take 2 steps back, a whip struck his back. He screamed in pain, I'm going to tell my brother to divorce you. Caleb's eyelids twitched. Seeing his brother wailing in pain, he decided to take a desperate risk. He reached to grab the whip from her hand. Rania gave a cold laugh, swiftly dodging. Caleb's pupils widened in shock. The force behind his swing was no joke, yet the woman easily dodged it. Then Rania lashed out with another strike. The man was flung violently into the marble coffee table, which shattered on impact. Rania lightly blew on her palm, not a speck of dust in sight. She advised the 3, Best not disturb my peaceful sleep again. Consider today a lesson you won't forget. After speaking, she glanced at Ethan lying face down on the floor, looking pitiful. Still not getting up? Planning to stay here like a corpse? Ethan scrambled to his feet as fast as he could. He hopped along behind her like a little zombie. My brother has never hit me, yet she dares to hit me and now she's dragging me along? A sleek black luxury car slowly pulled up, stopping at the Zhang Villa entrance. Ethan, seeing a lifeline, jumped forward eagerly. Another black luxury car arrived slowly. A tall, lean man opened the car door and stepped out. The twin bodyguards behind Rania whispered to each other, So this is Liam Bowe. But he looks so cold. Lucky our boss is divorced from him now. Rania gave a cold glance. They immediately shut their mouths but successfully drew Liam's attention. Last time it was Jaden Zhang, this time, 2 people. Ethan called from the side, Quick, help me untie these ropes. Liam didn't even look at him, his gaze fixed on Rania. He then strode to Rania, looking down from above. She was wearing a nightgown. She wore a pair of bunny slippers. She had never dressed so casually or intimately before. He asked what she was doing here. Rania's tone carried slight impatience. We're divorced. Ask your little brother to remove me from his contacts. Liam ignored that, asking instead, Did Caleb Zhang do anything to you? At that moment, Caleb's car arrived. He rolled down the window, pointing at Rania. I remember you now. Rania curved her lips in a smile. Mr. Zhang, today's experience will be unforgettable. Liam's expression darkened. Caleb, what are you planning with my tied-up brother? Caleb snapped irritably. My brother got seriously hurt by this woman. We have to go to the hospital now. In truth, it was he who was seriously hurt, but he didn't have the face to admit it. Liam felt a shock in his heart. Did Rania really injure him so badly? This woman at home couldn't even open a bottle cap on her own. Caleb, what are you joking about? Even if you wanted to frame her, there's no way you could do it like this. Ethan trembled as he stepped forward to report, Brother, he's not lying. I got hit too. Rania went overboard. She hit me with a whip. Leo also poked his head out excitedly. Yes, yes, yes. You can testify too. Liam couldn't believe his eyes as he stared at Rania. She took on all three of them by herself? Rania raised an indifferent brow. What's the matter? You planning to defend them? Liam suddenly pulled her in front of him. How many things have you been hiding from me? Rania let out a soft laugh. Liam Bow, the way you sound, you really do sound like an angry husband. The white-shirted bodyguard behind them couldn't help but chuckle. The black-shirted bodyguard hurriedly tugged on his sleeve, whispering for him to hold it in or risk angering the boss. Caleb, seeing Liam facing off with Rania, immediately relaxed. All right, I'll take my leave. Liam didn't even glance at him. The stock will drop 3% tomorrow, he said. Caleb snorted. I wasn't scared into growing up. Leo winked at Rania. Until next time, goddess. At that moment, a familiar ringtone rang. Rania glanced at the name on her phone, a cold gleam flashing in her eyes. I'm busy. Goodbye. He only looked at the man in white helping her open the car door. His face darkened further. Damn these two men, what is their relationship with her? Scene change. Melissa Lee was standing with her hands on her hips, looking haughty at the elderly woman. Rania will be back soon. You know how to behave, right? Ask her, do you hear me? The elderly woman flinched and whispered, I understand. At that moment, the maid's voice came through. The second young lady is home. The elderly woman's face suddenly brightened, and she hurriedly got up and went to the door. Rania handed the cake she had bought on the way to her grandmother. Melissa examined Rania's loungewear and slippers, raising an eyebrow. She wasn't one to nag much. But really, this is how you go out. If your father or those big business bosses see you like this, they'd think the Sue family daughter is completely sloppy. Rania gave her a blank look, glancing at her once. If you're so talkative, you'd better keep your mouth shut. Then she turned her gaze to her grandmother. How have you been feeling? The elderly woman, not wanting to worry her, replied, I caught a slight cold a few days ago, but it's nothing serious. That moment, Robert Sue was being helped down from the upper floor by a servant. Rania spoke flatly. I don't have much time. Just tell me directly what's going on. Robert put on a gentle, fatherly expression. Rania, must we let the distance between us affect our family bond like this? Rania let out a cold laugh. Talking about family bonds now? It's too late for that. When I was young, it was clearly Fiona who caused trouble. In the freezing winter, she threw me out to kneel in the snow. Why didn't you talk about family bonds then? Rania suppressed her annoyance and added, If there's nothing to say, I'm leaving. Robert said, Don't leave yet, while glancing at his mother, but the elderly woman kept her head down and remained silent. He had no choice but to block her path and continue. You know, Dad's company has been facing some problems recently. Rania, impatient, cut him off. Get to the point. Robert hurried on. Recently, we did the interior work for the Hawk family's new hotel. A worker fell from the scaffolding, and now the Hawks want to terminate the contract. They're also demanding double the penalty for breach of contract. Grandpa Hawk is seriously ill. If you help him recover, the Hawks might not pursue the matter. Rania let out a cold laugh. So much fluff, and now the fox's tail is exposed. But my instincts tell me this isn't that simple. Rania said nonchalantly, Got it, grandmother, see me off. Stepping out of the mansion, Rania grabbed her grandmother's hand and asked if that woman had made her feel wronged. The elderly woman averted her eyes slightly. After all, she was her daughter-in-law. What harm could she have done? At that moment, a panting bodyguard ran up and handed her a paper bag. Rania placed 20,000 wen into her grandmother's hand. They parted reluctantly. As soon as she disappeared from view, Melissa snatched the 20,000 wen from her grandmother, and she even falsely accused her grandmother of stealing money. Robert, furious, shoved his mother, and she stumbled, hitting the wall hard. Still angry, Robert sent her to the storage room for the future. The elderly woman, seeing her child, the one she raised alone, turned out like this, with blood dripping from her forehead, felt both wronged and heartbroken. The CEO after the divorce truly seemed like someone steeped in vinegar. The fangirl flight attendant saw the stern-faced CEO and openly whispered, He's way too handsome. Liam checked the passenger list, and when he saw the name Rania Sue, his eyes narrowed slightly. He instructed the head flight attendant to pay extra attention to the passengers around her and to monitor her movements. The head flight attendant wondered to herself, What's so special about this girl? At this moment, Rania was resting with her eyes closed. Beside her, a blonde man, captivated by her beauty, kept a careful watch on her. The head flight attendant casually made a round and returned to Liam. Miss Rania slept for a while, but the male passenger next to her woke her up and even helped her pick up her things 3 times. The man's name was Marco, from Italy. Liam frowned. This man was definitely doing it on purpose. The co-pilot calmly continued flying the plane. Liam observed everything as normal. He then brought a glass of strawberry water to sit beside Rania. She really didn't want to pay him any attention. Since they were divorced, it would be better to act as if they were strangers. Liam ignored her coldness and offered her the strawberry water. "This is your favorite drink." Rania refused, thinking it was from the past. Now she didn't like it, and told him not to disturb her rest. Liam looked at her intently. He also wanted to rest. Rania gritted her teeth and said, "Then please go back to your own seat." Liam reached out to brush a strand of hair from her face. "Then kiss me once and I'll leave immediately." Rania slapped his hand away, sending it flying from her hair. Then, hearing him ask if that guy was handsome, Rania knew exactly who he meant and found him unbearably annoying. She decisively closed her eyes and went back to sleep, too lazy to pay attention to him. Liam leaned close to her ear and whispered, "So you're silently admitting he's not handsome, huh?" Rania suddenly opened her eyes. "Mr. Bow, have some self-respect." The man took the opportunity to wrap his arms around her slim waist. "You used to like it most when I nibbled your ear, just like now." Rania couldn't hold it any longer and yanked on his tie. "Aren't you done yet?" Just then, the plane suddenly jolted violently. Rania's head unexpectedly bumped against the man's chin. Liam quickly shielded her. "Careful, stay safe. I'll go check the situation ahead." Passengers panicked and started murmuring. The head flight attendant stumbled while reassuring everyone, "Don't panic, it's just turbulence. We'll stabilize very quickly." Suddenly, a flight attendant lost her balance and fell hard to the floor, letting out a painful cry. Rania stood up, grabbed a seat for support, and began making her way to her. A nearby flight attendant immediately blocked her. "Miss, please don't move around. Do you want to die?" Rania wobbled toward the head flight attendant. "I'm a doctor from River City's top hospital." The plane continued to shake violently. Some passengers were breaking down emotionally, while the flight attendants tried to calm everyone, instructing them to put on their oxygen masks. At that moment, a cold voice suddenly came over the intercom. "I, Rania Sue, am the wife of Captain Liam Bow on this flight. My husband has professional training and will be responsible for his wife, and even more responsible for all of you. I believe he can lead us to a safe landing." The co-pilot stared at the red zones on the radar, sweat running cold down his face. "What do we do now?" Liam's expression was resolute. "Stay calm and fully cooperate with me." 10 minutes later, the plane finally stabilized. The passengers, all on edge, breathed a sigh of relief and gradually began thanking Rania and the captain. After the plane landed safely, Rania pulled her suitcase and walked forward with the crowd. Suddenly, a large hand grabbed her arm from behind. "Mrs. Bow, where do you think you're going?" Rania cast a cold glance at the man. "The head flight attendant of your crew was injured. I only went to comfort the passengers, that's all." Liam suddenly felt a flash of irritation. "I just came to tell you, this is the only time you get to use the title Mrs. Bow." Rania let out a cold laugh. "I was thinking the same thing. This was just a coincidence. Don't worry, I won't cling to you." With that, she turned and walked away. Liam had expected her to linger in her Mrs. Bow role, but this ruthless woman completely ignored him. The luxury car rolled smoothly to a stop at the gate of the estate, and 2 rows of men in black immediately bowed respectfully. Ken Lin hurried forward to greet her. "Boss, why are you here alone?" Rania removed her sunglasses and asked about the situation. Ken's face was full of worry. "The gang is trying to take over our territory. The other night, they deliberately set fire to our warehouse and caused a scene at the local police station. The local police negotiated with the gang's deputy leader and decided that we should face off against their boxing champion, Henry." The others chimed in. "That's right, boss. Even though our Nightshade members are skilled, we're still a step below this boxer." Rania scanned everyone coldly. "Send me all the files on that boxer. Also, I've been on a plane all night and I'm exhausted. I need to rest now." She slammed the door behind her. A group of underlings muttered angrily. What was the elder thinking? Passing the clan leader position to a useless woman, why not let Ken be the leader? Ken Lin remained silent the entire time. Meanwhile, in an underground arena, the crowd was noisy and excited as the final match between Henry and the mysterious challenger was about to begin. Liam sat in a private room on the second floor. A bearded man poured him a glass of red wine. "You're here to watch the final showdown between Nightshade and the gang? Ever since the old leader passed, Nightshade hasn't been the same." Liam was slightly surprised. He hadn't been back in 4 years, and now he stumbled right into a major event. He asked, Doesn't Nightshade have a new leader now? The bearded man sneered. I heard it's a woman. What can women really do these days? Liam suddenly thought of his enigmatic ex-wife. Maybe it's not that simple. Having just come from a session with his psychologist, he rubbed his temples and confided in his longtime friend. At first, I only married because of my grandfather's pressure. During the 4 years of marriage, she was gentle and considerate. But after the divorce, I realized she treated the marriage like a game. I never knew she had so many sides. The doctor raised his brows at his longtime friend. You're smart. Divorce alone won't give you an anxiety disorder. Did you have any real feelings for her? Or did you just overlook her, never really understand her, or maybe she deliberately hid herself? Meanwhile, in Nightshade's private second-floor room, Ken and a few underlings were spinning in worry. Ken, the match is about to start. Should I go up to the arena? One of the others said, let me go. Worst case, I get beaten to death. Ken thought for a few seconds, then suddenly opened the door. You guys aren't up to it. I'll go myself. At that moment, a sweet voice blared over the loudspeaker, inviting the two fighters to the stage. The giant screen lit up. Henry versus Rania Sue. The audience instantly erupted with excitement. Nightshade really went all out this time. They actually brought in the underground legend, Shadow Orchid. But wasn't Shadow Orchid missing? I heard they were dead. Ken, who had just reached the edge of the ring, froze in shock. Shadow Orchid was a living legend. How could someone like that possibly be helping their Nightshade clan? Suddenly, a bell rang, and the large backstage doors leading to the arena swung open. A graceful woman wearing a mask slowly stepped out. After a brief silence, the crowd exploded again. Wait, Shadow Orchid is a woman? No way, this has to be fake. Up on the second-floor balcony, Liam leaned against the railing. The moment he saw the woman, his heart nearly stopped. Rania? What the hell was she doing in the ring? Had she lost her mind? Liam went wild, shoving through the crowd as he ran toward the ring. Rania, is this why you came to Italy? He yelled at the top of his lungs, using every ounce of strength he had. Down from there! Are you trying to die? But Rania completely ignored him. The woman impersonating Shadow Orchid must be punished. She deserves to die. Someone in the audience shouted. At exactly 9:10, the match began. Amid roaring cheers, the two fighters lunged at each other simultaneously. In a blur of lightning-fast motion, the woman on stage delivered a powerful kick straight to Henry's face. That single kick instantly provoked Henry's beastly rage. The two exchanged a flurry of blows. Henry never expected that this slender woman could be so terrifyingly strong. After several rounds, the woman suddenly twisted her arm and locked his neck in a chokehold. Then, with a swift kick, she sent the massive man flying off the ring. The crowd went absolutely wild. Oh my God, she really is Shadow Orchid. To see the real face of Shadow Orchid before I die, no regrets, someone shouted. Liam could only stare in shock at his ex-wife standing fierce and unstoppable in the ring. Who was this woman really? How many secrets was she still hiding? At that moment, a tall, handsome European man rushed up to her, eyes wide with emotion. He wrapped her in his arms. Oh my God, it's really you. You're alive. That's incredible. Liam stood frozen, staring at the man's hands on her. Wasn't that Wilson, the leader of the rival gang? Why was he getting so close to Rania? And besides, this woman always seemed to attract attention from men wherever she went. Actually, Wilson was also the owner of this underground ring. He was visibly agitated. Where are you going? You're alive. Why didn't you come back to find me? Rania coldly pushed him away. If it weren't for your gang forcing the issue, I wouldn't have shown up. I've won this time, so let Nightshade decide how the territory is divided. Rania curled her lips into a faint smile. Just then, as she was about to return to her room to rest, a familiar hoarse voice suddenly rang out behind her. She stopped, surprised, and looked over. Her ex-husband? Did he see everything? So she smiled gently. May I ask, Mr. Bow, is there something important you need? Liam suddenly felt an inexplicable irritation. Stop pretending, I know it's you. Do you realize what you're doing? Have you thought about what happens if you slip up? Rania raised an eyebrow. You're worried about me? Liam was cut off mid-sentence. I just wanted to remind you not to play with fire all the time. The gang leader Wilson also noticed the handsome man, his tone displeased. This is our territory. Out of respect for my guest, please speak to her politely. Liam snapped back irritably. I have a closer bond with her than you do. Wilson wouldn't back down either. I've got a life and death connection with her. Between the two men, sparks seemed to fly like electricity, neither willing to yield. Rania didn't care about their standoff at all. Back in her room, she changed into a trendy outfit and headed toward the luxury car waiting for her. Just then, a police car screeched to a halt in front of the club. A man in a police uniform, radiating authority, stepped down from the vehicle. Rania's heart skipped a beat. Oh no, how did he get here so fast? She needed to get out of there quickly. Suddenly, a warm hand reached from behind and pulled her into a corner. Meanwhile, the officer was scanning the area, looking around. Liam held her tightly. You look troubled. I'm just trying to help you handle this mess. Why aren't you happy? Rania flung him off. You're so annoying. She peeked out to see that the obnoxious guy was still lingering outside. Before Liam could react, Rania grabbed his collar and looped her arms around his neck. Consider this me settling a debt first. Liam instinctively held her slim waist, but it still wasn't enough, so he adjusted his hold. Then he lifted her chin and kissed her. Rania froze completely. This damn man was taking advantage of the moment to get what he wanted. Meanwhile, the police officer made a wide sweep but couldn't find any sign of Shadow Orchid. Annoyingly, he spotted a dazzling couple acting disgustingly sweet nearby. Once the officer left, Liam finally released Rania. Weren't you just complaining that I was annoying? How do you plan to repay this debt now? Rania composed herself and replied calmly, As you can see, someone's after me. I have things to do, so we'll talk next time. Liam stubbornly insisted, No, you have to settle it right now. Meanwhile, Wilson casually draped an arm around the man. Can't find the person in your heart, huh? Never mind. If she wants to see you, she'll show up naturally. The man pushed Wilson's arm away in frustration. How is she? Is she okay? Wilson said loudly, She's fine. Back then, I thought she was dead after that incident. The man frowned. I want to know what really happened too, but she refuses to tell. Rania scanned the room and sneered. Who knew Liam could be so old-fashioned, letting me stay one night at his hotel? Is this the debt he wants me to repay? Liam poured wine at the bar and said, The room is big, with an extra bedroom. Don't worry, I won't do anything. Rania hadn't expected his scheme to be so deep. This room almost perfectly mirrored our wedding villa. He arranged it deliberately, making it hard not to misinterpret. It's meant to tempt me, isn't it? So tell me, what exactly do you want? Liam handed her a glass of wine. I won't do anything. When have I ever tricked you? But over the years, you've hidden so much from me. What's your relationship with Nightshade and what's Shadow Orchid all about? Rania pushed his hand away irritably. We're divorced. What good does knowing this do? If there's nothing else, I'll go rest. You keep the good wine for yourself, Mr. Beau. Rania went to the extra bedroom to shower, then opened her laptop. Only 3 days left to complete the tracking mission she needed to speed up. She focused intensely, tracking every trace of her target. Suddenly, the doorbell rang, cutting off her thoughts. She couldn't hold it in anymore. She flung the door open to the living room. Liam's phone had fallen on the coffee table. She grabbed his phone and angrily knocked on the bathroom door. His phone kept ringing nonstop. What a nuisance. Liam stuck his head out and glanced around. Then he ran a hand through his hair, wrapped only in a towel at the waist. You jealous? He asked. Your hands are wet. Answer it for me. She took the phone to him, and the moment the call connected, a coquettish voice came through. Liam, what are you doing? Rania's face immediately went dark and she flung the phone at him. Liam took it and said coldly, I've got something to do. I have to hang up. Inside, he felt a secret thrill. This woman was definitely jealous. Rania went back to the bedroom and fell asleep. Late at night, when everything was quiet, Liam came to the foot of the bed and watched her peaceful sleeping face. He couldn't help himself and kissed the lips he'd dreamed about for so long. Rania, a light sleeper, suddenly opened her eyes. The man stared at her for a long moment. Was this just a forced kiss? Liam's hoarse voice sounded, You're awake! Rania blinked at him, then let out a soft moan. What's wrong? My body's responding. Maybe I was just exhausted today. Strangely, she didn't push him away. And so their long night began. The next morning at the airport, they returned to acting like strangers. Rania felt remorseful. Last night had been out of the ordinary. Could it be that my body's already used to Liam Beau? 2 women behind them were whispering, Isn't that the Mrs. Beau from the viral posts? Startled, Rania quickly took out her phone and opened the trending news. Mrs. Beau makes her first public appearance, the headlines read. Netizens had picked up the story and she'd gained a wave of fans. Rania sipped her coffee and told Ken Lin, who ran Nightshade, Send me the files later. You guys can move to apprehend him. Ken readily agreed. I know the boss can handle it, but has he seen the hot search? Rania frowned. This isn't interesting at all, and immediately hung up. Ken shook his head. Not patient again, huh? After Liam got off the plane, he was in the lounge changing clothes when a flight attendant, clearly admiring him, rushed in holding her phone. Mrs. Beau seems to be exaggerating the last plane incident, she whispered. Liam's cold eyes turned to her. Exaggerating what? She even accused someone of deliberately hyping things to grab attention. Unexpectedly, the boss didn't fall for it. He immediately warned her, adding that she couldn't even handle her own job properly. From now on, I don't ever want to hear anything from you about my wife, he said. Truly, his skill at protecting his wife was top-notch. At this moment, Rania was reviewing documents and taking notes, while Jaden Zhang casually glanced over. Boss, it's so late. Why haven't you rested yet? Rania didn't lift her head. I have a surgery tomorrow. Meanwhile, the TV reported that the overseas labor debt kingpin had finally been caught. According to the official report, the famous hacker Lin had played a major role in the capture. Jaden leaned in like a hound next to Rania. No wonder hacker Lin is so famous. That notorious villain is finally caught. Rania didn't even glance at him. Jaden chuckled. Everything I said comes from the heart. Rania tapped his head. Honestly, you talk nonsense all the time. No sooner had he finished speaking than her phone rang. It was Liam. She frowned, sensing trouble, and set her phone to silent, tossing it aside. Jaden's eyes sparkled. Boss, can I post this on social media? But Rania's mind was focused on her notes, barely noticing his slightly guilty excitement. Go ahead and post, she said. Do I need your permission to post? Am I a tyrant or what? Jaden quietly rejoiced and took a quick angled photo of her. This is from me, okay? Little did they know. The boss was silently furious. He had called Rania more than 10 times, all ignored. Secretary Alex Song suddenly handed him the phone. Miss Rania seems to be with Jaden Zhang, the CEO of Serenity Pharma. Jaden had just posted a stunning angled photo of Rania with the caption, "Late night waiting for someone so happy." Liam immediately felt like his lungs were going to explode. She has time with another man, but not to answer my calls? And they're in the same room? He stood up, face black as night, and marched outside, with Alex rushing after him. Since the divorce, his temper had worsened, but it seemed he cared too much about Rania. At this moment, Rania finished taking notes for tomorrow's surgery and stretched, ready to head to her bedroom. Turning around, she saw Jaden. When had this kid sneaked in? He was slumped against the sofa, asleep, sprawled like a husky guarding the door. She reached out and gently tapped his face. Time to head to your room. Jaden let out a grumble and wobbled to his feet. Seeing he wasn't fully awake, Rania helped steady him. Unexpectedly, his legs gave way, and with a series of flailing motions, the two of them toppled back onto the sofa together. Rania, annoyed, smacked him on the head. Get up, I shouldn't have bothered caring for you. Just as she finished speaking, the temperature seemed to drop suddenly. Looking up, she saw Liam standing at her door, face cold, his presence radiating the aura of someone catching a thief in the act. Rania stared at him, surprised. Why are you in my house? Hearing the word house only made Liam angrier. Your house? Then what about the River Pine Villa? He stepped forward and grabbed her wrist. Come home with me. Rania, having recovered from her shock, thought, he barges into someone's home with all this justification, and now he wants to force me to do… What? Liam closed the distance step by step. You don't need the River Pine Villa? So you want to live with Jaden Zhang instead? Before she could react, he pressed her against him with one hand, whispering like a child, Don't treat me like this, please. Rania blinked, confused. I didn't quite catch what you said. She tried to push the childish man away, but he stayed pressed against the hollow of her neck without moving. Rania was utterly speechless. Is this real? He's falling asleep on me again? She staggered, dragging the clingy man into the living room. As she approached the bed, she suddenly tripped over something. Liam used the momentum to pin her onto the bed. Rania struggled, trying to push him off. Suddenly, a husky, magnetic voice whispered into her ear, If you keep moving, I can't promise I won't do something else. Rania glared at him, holding back her anger. You're awake, so let go of me already. Rania turned her face away in irritation. If you're not well, don't be running around. I don't want tomorrow's trending news to be CEO Bo collapses at my house. Liam leaned close to her ear, smiling affectionately. My body's fine, at least stronger than that other guy out there. Unexpectedly, Rania grabbed his tie with one hand. Suddenly, she launched a counterattack, straddling him. Then CEO Bo, sleep well. She wrapped him tightly in the blanket. The proud CEO wanted to be furious, but he couldn't move. Never in his life had a woman teased him like this. The next morning, the two men almost simultaneously stepped out of the living room. Jaden's hair was a mess, sticking out in every direction, eyes wide open. Liam, the annoying guy, why was he in this kid's house? Rivalry had them glaring red-eyed. Jaden pointed at the man as if he weren't an outsider at all. Rania, what's going on? Why is he here? Rania had long since given up on this pig of a teammate. Why don't you check my social media first? Jaden awkwardly opened his phone. To his surprise, the top trending topic featured an article about the supposed couple, CEO Bo and Jaden Zhang. His head spun. It's a miracle the boss didn't strangle me on the spot. Rania, fed up, didn't want to watch these two men perform a royal harem drama anymore. She stood up. I have a surgery to attend to, so I'll go ahead. Liam scooped a fried pastry into her bowl. Not eating? You used to always say breakfast is a must. Seeing Rania ignore him, he stood, grabbed her hand. I'll take you. Rania coldly flicked his hand away. No need. I have a car. Liam arrogantly pointed toward the roof. Aren't you in a hurry? My private plane is up there, much faster than your car. Rania froze. Did this man really fly in last night? Meanwhile, at the hospital, the director was reassuring Mr. Chase. Dr. Rania will be here soon. Mr. Chase cut him off. If it's Dr. Rania, then I'm at ease. As the two spoke, the door suddenly creaked, and a tall, elegant figure stepped into the room. Mr. Chase, in 5 minutes you'll be going into surgery. I'll be the lead surgeon. The Chase and Bow families have been close for generations. When old Mr. Chase saw Rania's beautiful eyes, he was slightly startled, feeling he had seen those eyes somewhere before. Miss Chloe Chase, the eldest daughter of the Chase family, waited anxiously outside the operating room with her mother. Mrs. Chase reassured her, "It's the renowned Dr. Rania performing the surgery. By the way, has Liam been informed about such a big matter?" Chloe smiled brightly. "I'll call him." Mrs. Chase patted her hand. "Go ahead. It's best to let him come see for himself." An hour later, Liam arrived at the hospital wearing a brown windbreaker. Time passed slowly, and the operating room door suddenly opened. Rania emerged, looking exhausted. Mrs. Chase, slightly haughty, asked, "Dr. Rania, how is my father?" For patients' relatives like this, Rania usually ignored them, and her assistant quickly replied, "The surgery was very successful." Mrs. Chase angrily blocked Rania. "I'm asking you, what kind of attitude is that?" Rania didn't stop walking. "You can ask my assistant," she said. Mrs. Chase, furious, yelled, "I want to hear it from you personally. If something happens to my father, what good is an assistant?" Liam knew Mrs. Chase was notorious for ignoring reason, and worried Rania couldn't handle her, so he started to step forward to help her out. But Rania let out a cold laugh. "I think you should understand. If it weren't for the respect I have for the hospital director, I wouldn't have even taken this surgery. Want me to explain your father's condition in person? That comes at a price." Mrs. Chase was completely silenced by Rania's words. Liam watched her cheeks puff in anger, realizing he had almost forgotten just how sharp-tongued she was. Since the divorce, the ex-CEO had been like a hunting dog, running into her everywhere. Mrs. Chase roared haughtily at her. "I don't care if you're Dr. Yang or Dr. Rania, you have no professional ethics at all." Chloe stood beside her, continuing to echo her mother. Chloe felt a little embarrassed. "Liam, so about tonight's banquet?" Hearing the words banquet, Rania froze in her tracks. She had almost forgotten about the dinner. Jaden shamelessly pleaded with her. "Now the whole world knows I have a goddess. If this time I can't get her to appear, what's the point of my handsome face?" Liam glanced back at Rania. He had originally planned to invite her along, but now with Mr. Chase just out of surgery, he needed comforting. He stepped into the patient's room. The old man was already awake. He smiled and said, "Rania is the top surgeon at this hospital. With her skills, you can rest easy." The old man's dark eyes seemed to be recalling something. She must be about Chloe's age. So young and yet so skilled. And those eyes, I feel like I've seen them before. Who does she resemble? Liam was stunned. Could it be that Mr. Chase and Rania had some deep connection? At 8 p.m., the scene at the party was filled with beautiful stars gathering. Rania and Jaden stepped out of the car and immediately caught the reporter's lenses. Jaden Zhang, this diamond heir, actually has a girlfriend. This woman, some C-list star. I don't remember her at all. Could she be some unknown international star? Jaden whispered while holding Rania's hand. "Boss, you could easily get by on your looks, but you rely on talent. Look, these people are all bowing under the sway of your dress." Rania gave him a cold glance and went silent. Jaden laughed even more enthusiastically. "Wow, can't even praise you properly?" Rania lightly nodded. He was just stating facts, not really praising her. Suddenly, the crowd erupted into cheers. It turned out Liam had also brought a female companion. Chloe looked on with envy. "Who is this C-lister stealing my spotlight?" Liam's expression instantly darkened. She was Jaden's companion. Suddenly, the sound of loud footsteps echoed. Leo Jung excitedly rushed over, shouting and making a scene. "My goddess, you're here too? I knew it, luck must be favoring me. Fate has arranged for us to meet here." Before he could finish his endless praise, his older brother Caleb violently cut him off. "Shut your mouth, be quiet." Leo pouted in frustration and stretched out his hand. "Goddess, please have mercy. Can you fulfill my small wish and shake my hand?" Rania remained cold, not even turning her head. Leo's teenage heart shattered into pieces. In front, the host held a glass of red wine. CEO Julian Hawke. Hearing a woman say, "Impossible," he thought to himself, what a beautiful voice. Liam stepped into the hall, his gaze constantly tracking Rania's voice. He was about to step forward and pull the woman along. Not paying attention, he stepped on the hem of the dress of the woman beside him. Chloe yelped and almost fell flat on her face. Liam quickly reached out to steady her. But the commotion had already caught Rania's attention. She gave the two of them a cold glance before turning away. Meanwhile, the CEO saw her surrounded and being doted on by all these men, and he was about to explode with jealousy. He strode up to her, irritated, and said, "Sit next to me." Rania looked up at him with an innocent expression. "Sorry, I'm currently the companion of CEO Jiang. Maybe you should be with your female companion as well." At that moment, the host on stage announced that the auction was officially starting. Rania smiled at the man standing stiffly in front. It would be better if Liam found a seat, as standing there blocked the view for those behind him. Liam reluctantly turned and walked to the front row seat. This woman was truly different from before. The little scene between them had also caught the attention of host Julian Hawk. Who was this girl daring to challenge Liam Bow like that? The auction proceeded smoothly, without any disorder, as the host announced with enthusiasm. The next item up for auction was an original painting by Miss Chloe Chase, starting at 100,000. Jaden leaned close to Rania and whispered, "What do you think of this painting?" Rania didn't even lift her eyelids to judge. Then she casually nudged the man in front with her foot. "Liam, aren't you going to bid for your little sweetheart?" However, the man calmly said, "Don't play around," in a tone both indulgent and commanding. Rania pouted, finding it completely uninteresting. The host, CEO Julian Hawk, glanced at the two of them, thinking, "Is this still the Liam Bow I know?" Finally, Chloe's painting sold for 500,000 with the hammer strike, and the host continued the announcements. Next up for auction was Miss Rania Sue's hidden masterpiece, a painting titled "100 Birds Paying Homage to the Phoenix." In the crowd below, connoisseurs of calligraphy and painting began whispering, "Isn't 100 Birds Paying Homage to the Phoenix one of Master Sue's signature works? Where did this woman come from?" Chloe was also in disbelief. How could Rania possibly have a painting by Master Sue? She was certain Jaden must have known Master Sue and lent the painting to Rania to make her stand out. She leaned over and whispered to Liam beside her, "I think this painting was a gift from CEO Jiang to Rania. If you can use him as a bridge, maybe your chance of meeting Master Sue will be higher." Jaden suddenly popped his head from behind, casting her a disdainful glance. "That painting isn't mine. It belongs to Rania Sue herself. I'm not eavesdropping, you know. Your voices are just so loud that even I can't admire the goddess in peace." At that moment, Rania smiled and walked onto the stage. "Master Sue knew I would participate in the charity auction and gifted me this painting. It only gains value if it can help others," she explained. Chloe ground her teeth, incredulous. "Impossible, you're just a junior doctor. How could you know someone like Master Sue?" Liam felt a flicker of unease as well. Why had he never known Rania had a connection to Master Sue? Jaden shot him a sharp glance. Since Master Sue's paintings are never sold, only given to those she favors, he immediately raised a paddle and bid 10 million. Liam refused to fall behind and countered with 50 million. The previously noisy crowd fell silent immediately. A few seconds later, an assertive voice suddenly shouted 100 million. It was Julian Hawk. Confident as if victory was already in hand, he calmly said, "CEO Bow, stop competing with me. This painting belongs to me." Rania spoke, explaining that all proceeds from the painting would be donated to Master Sue's charity foundation, with transparent records open for inspection at any time. Julian stared at the radiant woman on stage. Truly, she was fascinating. After the auction ended, Liam quickly chased after Rania and shoved a check into her hand. "This is my donation to the foundation. Arrange for me to meet Master Sue just once." Rania casually glanced at the check. "Why do you need to meet Master Sue?" Liam explained. "I have something to request." Unexpectedly, Rania gently returned the check to his coat pocket. "Sorry, I can't arrange that for you." She then linked arms with Jaden and walked away, leaving Liam boiling with anger. He grabbed a glass of whiskey from the table and drank it in one gulp. A few minutes later, he realized something was off with the drink. His body felt unsteady, and unable to restrain himself, he started moving to find her. Behind him, Chloe saw him staggering, seemingly waiting for something. She whispered to the nearby waiter, "Has he been given the drink yet? Why is he moving so fast?" The waiter, flustered, replied, "Yes, ma'am." But for some reason, he left immediately afterward. Meanwhile, Rania was wearing Jaden's coat, standing outside and enjoying the night view. Suddenly, a hand reached out from behind and grabbed her. She was abruptly pulled into a warm embrace. "What were you thinking?" "Jaden John can't compare to me," he murmured. He had intended to use the moment to cause some trouble, but unexpectedly, the ex-husband whisked her away. Liam ignored Rania's struggles and shoved her straight into his car. Feeling his entire body ablaze, his rational mind slowly started losing control. Rania immediately restrained his restless hands. Back at the villa, the first thing she did was dump a glass of cold water over his head. Next, she kicked him into the bathtub. After soaking in ice water all night, Liam's senses finally began to return. As Rania prepared to drive home, she received a call from her father, who was always scheming to use her. "Rania, when will you go with me to see young Master Hawk? His condition is getting worse." Rania gave a cold laugh. "When did I ever agree to meet Julian Hawk?" Robert Sue immediately softened his tone. "Last time you came home, you said you understood. Help your father, your grandmother still depends on the family fortune for her care." Rania's face went icy. "Stop dragging my grandmother into everything." Robert roared. "How can you speak to your father that way? Don't forget I am your father. If you don't go, I can't guarantee your grandmother's future." Anger surged in Rania. How could her father be so shameless? She had suggested several times to take her grandmother away, but her grandmother refused. The helpless frustration made her want to explode. Reluctantly, Rania went to the Sioux residence. As soon as she entered, she saw the man lounging lazily on the sofa, completely at ease. Julian Hawk looked up and was momentarily stunned. "So it's you." The woman from the auction had appeared, her aura so strikingly proud and elegant that no one could match it. Stepmother Melissa enthusiastically introduced. "This is the grandson of Mr. Hawk. In the future, when you treat Mr. Hawk, you should pay extra attention." Rania crossed her arms and gave a cold smile. "When did I agree to treat Mr. Hawk?" Julian could hardly believe it. This girl was the famous top surgical doctor he had heard about. Robert tried to suppress his anger. "This girl? Why is she changing her tone on the spot?" He immediately sweet-talked Julian. "Young Master Hawk, please don't mind. Rania has been a little irritable lately." Rania casually pulled out her phone. "Dad, stop pretending to be a concerned father. I just stopped by to see Grandma today. I'm not agreeing to anything else." She showed no respect for her father, but it wasn't that she refused out of stubbornness. She simply didn't have free time lately. After all, nearly fatal incidents had almost happened recently, and who knew what legal troubles might follow. Robert was so enraged he dared not speak, only glaring at his daughter fiercely. Julian stood and stepped in front of Rania. "Very well, I'll accept your terms, Dr. Rania. May I invite you to take some of your precious time to visit the hospital and check on my grandfather's condition? As for the other injured workers, the Hawk family would monitor, compensate, and comfort their families." These words were effective. Even though Rania didn't want to meddle in the Hawk family affairs, she couldn't ignore the plight of the innocent workers. Rania coldly asked her father, "Where's Grandma? How is she?" Robert could no longer contain his anger. He watched the Sioux family's house crumble in front of his eyes. And here Rania even mentioned her grandmother. Rania's composure was unwavering. "Julian's attitude just now, father, you saw it too. Don't think I won't warn you. If you dare touch Grandma, I guarantee you'll end up empty-handed, and it will be worse than it is now." Robert, furious, cursed his daughter as unfilial. Rania ignored them both and turned to leave. Melissa hurried forward to support her husband. "What do we do now? Since when did Rania become the #1 surgical doctor?" Robert clutched his chest, panting. "Don't say another word. While she doesn't know yet, get Mom out of the basement quickly." As Rania stepped out of the Sioux residence, her phone pinged with a message received at 4 p.m. "Meet me at Earth Emperor Tea House. Come or don't come back." If she hadn't come with Liam, Chloe wouldn't have had the right to step into this legendary tea house. A server in traditional attire politely asked, "Are you here for tea, ladies and gentlemen?" Liam coldly said, "We have an appointment in the Celestial Room." At that moment, from the second floor, the soft, melodious notes of a zither suddenly floated down. A guest exclaimed in surprise, "Master Sue is playing. I didn't expect to be lucky enough to hear Master Sue perform today." Chloe looked at the noisy crowd with a hint of disdain. "Master Sue is so impressive. Yet today she still had to respect Liam and accept me as her disciple." The server led the two of them to the Celestial Room. As soon as they stepped inside, behind a folding screen, a woman in a bright red outfit was playing the zither with her back to them. Chloe felt a small sense of pride. Master Sue's musical skill was extraordinary, and her mood seemed special too. Liam had gone out of his way for her sake, so he must have some feelings for her. A middle-aged woman, elegant and generous, warmly invited Liam to take a seat. Liam respectfully addressed her, "Auntie Thompson," for this woman was not only the mother of his close friend but also held the status of the mayor's wife. Chloe eagerly ran up behind the woman in red. "You must be Master Sue. I've heard your zither skills are extraordinary." "It truly lives up to the reputation today. It's an honor to meet you," Chloe added. But the woman in red didn't respond. Chloe was only speaking to herself as background noise. Mrs. Thompson stepped forward and patted her shoulder. "Rania, this is the granddaughter I told you wanted to meet you. She begged me several times, and I had no choice but to bring her here." Only then did the woman in red smile softly and slowly turn around. It's fine. After all, someone spent millions just to meet me once. How could I refuse? Liam was stunned, seeing Rania's stunning beauty up close. No wonder she could help Master Su auction a painting. She was Master Su herself. Rania propped her chin on her hand, smiling slightly. I wonder what brings you here, Mr. Beau. Liam snapped back to attention and shouted angrily. You're really something. Is teasing me this much fun for you? Rania's face carried a hint of sarcasm. Mr. Beau, did you spend millions just to interrogate me? Mrs. Thompson, completely unaware of their relationship, looked at Liam in surprise. So you two were already acquainted? Liam gritted his teeth. Not just acquainted, we're very close, in bed. Before he could finish, Rania took a step forward and clamped her hand over his mouth, fearing he might blurt out something outrageous. I don't know anything about that, she snapped. Mrs. Thompson laughed heartily, trying to mediate. Liam, you came to see Master Su today. What is this all about? Liam shot a meaningful glance at Rania, wondering if Master Su would respect him enough to accept Mr. Chase's granddaughter as her disciple. Chloe fidgeted, tugging at his sleeve and shaking her head. I really don't want to be her disciple anyway. Liam skillfully dodged her hand without showing any reaction. Rania shot him a disdainful glare. Don't even talk about taking disciples, there's no chance. I've never liked taking disciples. Even if I did, it would have to be someone of upright character and exceptional talent. Chloe was both hurt and angry at her words, sobbing softly. Liam ignored her completely and politely said to Mrs. Thompson, Auntie, may I borrow Rania for 3 minutes? Then, without waiting for a reply, he pulled her out. Once outside the private room, he pinned her against the wall. You owe me an explanation, don't you? Do you enjoy seeing me embarrassed? Rania leaned calmly against the wall, looking him straight in the eye. Mr. Beau, you've never asked about my relationship with Master Su, nor whether I am Master Su, so why blame me? Liam felt a bit annoyed. I allow you to be sharp-tongued with me, but that doesn't give you the right to trick me over and over again. He wanted to press forward and kiss her, but Rania stopped him. Ex-husband, who are you trying to seduce? Don't touch me, I have a thing about cleanliness. She pushed him away and returned to the room. Liam scratched his head but couldn't help feeling a little pleased. So she's jealous again. I knew it, she still cares about me, he thought. Rania spoke politely to Mrs. Thompson, who was sipping tea. Sister, I'll take my leave for today. We can meet another time. Liam felt instantly unbalanced. He called Mrs. Thompson auntie, but she just said sister. That's a bit disrespectful. Mrs. Thompson waved it off. Today, Liam asked me to meet with you. Everything between the two of you is settled. I have no opinion. Rania, impatient, looked back at the two. Miss Chase said she doesn't want to become a disciple, and I've expressed my position. That matter is done. Liam coldly flicked Chloe's hand away. Because you don't want to. From now on, don't bother Master Su. And if you need anything, don't come to me either. Without caring about the chaos behind him, he strode past Rania. Ethan Beau, always causing trouble, suddenly sent a message. Sister-in-law, hurry and save me! Rania's heart jumped. That brat, what has he gotten into this time? At this moment, Ethan was wearing only a pair of oversized boxers, smugly looking at his friends playing cards in front of him. Leo Jiang, you've already seen how amazing my sister-in-law is. If you don't want a beating, let me go right now. Leo mocked him disdainfully. I don't believe the goddess will come to help you. Stop flattering yourself. Nearby, a second-generation playboy jeered. Oh? Since when did you have a goddess? Leo raised an eyebrow. My goddess didn't even glance at his brother directly, and yet this brat shamelessly chased after her, calling her sister-in-law. Ethan instantly became furious. What are you talking about? My brother and Rania are in a secret marriage. They're just sulking at each other. He swung his fist, ready to hit him, when suddenly a clear female voice rang from the doorway. Aren't you two supposed to be on good terms? Seeing the goddess arrive, Leo slapped Ethan into the corner of the wall. Then he switched to a puppy-like smile. Hurry inside. Ethan, seeing his savior, started crying out, Sister-in-law, I've completely lost. Not a penny left, and they even stripped me. Did you bring money? Rania said coldly. No. Ethan panicked. If you're not here to help, what's the point? You can't let my sister-in-law see me like this. Go ask the guys for some money, please. Rania chuckled lightly. What good would it do to ask him? Isn't this a card game? I haven't played in ages. Let's do a round. Everyone else froze. Rania confidently sat at the card table. Let's play. Ethan, deal the cards. 10 minutes later, Leo lost everything, kneeling on the floor and wailing, Goddess, at least leave me my boxers, please. Ethan followed behind Rania, grinning devilishly at him. Exiting the private room, he jumped up and down excitedly. Sister-in-law, I've played cards for so long, but I've never met someone as lucky as you. Rania rolled her eyes and interrupted him. All right, all right. I'm divorced from your brother, so don't call me sister-in-law anymore. And don't expect me to clean up your mess next time. I don't have that kind of free time. Ethan wished he could kneel and beg her. If only you'd reconsider. After all, only you can tame those jerks. I promise I'll never bother you again. Ethan walked past another private room when he suddenly heard a familiar voice inside. Connor Hawk, let go of me. If you dare touch me again, my brother will come and kill you. His heart tightened. That voice. It sounded like his sister Bella. Without thinking, he pushed open the door and stormed in. His eyes widened. One of the men was roughly pinning Bella Bow onto the sofa, her dress torn, crying uncontrollably. Ethan angrily grabbed a beer bottle and hurled it straight at the man. You touched my sister Connor Hawk, and you're asking for it. Are you looking to die? He shouted. The private room instantly erupted into chaos as the thugs pinned him down and started beating him senseless. Bella trembled with fear, screaming, Stop hitting my brother! One burly thug raised a bottle, ready to smash it down on Ethan's head. Suddenly, a flying kick came out of nowhere and knocked the thug to the floor. A stunning woman strode into the room, every step drawing attention. Do you all have my permission to assault him? She demanded. The two siblings, bruised and battered, cried out in relief, Sister-in-law! Connor Hawk hadn't realized the trouble coming his way. Sneering, he taunted, A woman wants to interfere with my business? She's not bad-looking, though. Let's have a little fun. Before he could finish, Rania delivered a kick straight to his groin. There was a sickening crack and a cry of pain. The thugs panicked and yelled, You dare hit our boss! Do you know who he is? This is young Master Hawk, Julian Hawk's brother. Even the Bow family wouldn't dare start a fight with us openly. Rania pressed the room's call button and said calmly, I'm Rania Sue. Bring security in immediately. Within a minute, heavy footsteps thundered down the hall as the manager of the Grand Dynasty and a squad of hulking men in black stormed in, bowing slightly to her. We apologize for the rough welcome, Miss Rania. Please forgive the lapse. One of the big guys moved to haul Connor out. Connor snarled, Who dares touch me? Do you want to stop doing business in River City? The manager snapped back coldly. Whether we do business in River City or not is up to Miss Rania. They dragged the thugs out like stray dogs, cleaned up the mess, and the manager asked Rania, who was sitting on the sofa watching, if she needed anything else. Rania glanced absent-mindedly at her blood-stained shoes. My shoes are ruined. Bring me a clean pair. Liam rushed to the hospital, his face dark as he scanned the two useless siblings and demanded what had happened. Bella sobbed out, I recently started seeing someone, but he was set up by Connor and lured me into that private room. Liam scolded them, You two are idiots. The Hawk family and ours are sworn enemies. There are no limits to what they'll do. If it weren't for your sister-in-law arriving just in time today, you two would probably be dead. Rania gently tugged at his sleeve. Let's fix this. After today, I'm no longer their sister-in-law. The two unlucky siblings immediately leapt up, hugging her from both sides. Sister-in-law, we can't live without you. How could you just leave us like this? Rania pushed them off, tidied her hair, and said, Before the divorce, you two found excuses to bother me every day. Now suddenly you feel sorry? Your flip-flopping is way too fast. Crying won't help. Sit down and behave while you get your IVs. If you need anything later, don't come to me. You have an older brother. What are you sitting around for? Rania pressed the elevator button, preparing to head home and rest. Liam suddenly stepped forward, stretching his leg to block the elevator door and wedge himself in. Rania, tired, asked, What do you want now? The man replied calmly with 2 words. Thank you. She sighed. If that leg of yours breaks this elevator today. Before she could finish, he added nonchalantly, Then you can blame your own bad luck. But as luck or misfortune would have it, the elevator suddenly screeched loudly and plunged into darkness. Liam instinctively pulled the woman tightly into his arms. The elevator probably has a braking system. We'll be fine, he said. But Rania seemed utterly terrified, clutching her head, trembling, crying, Dad, please don't hit me, please let me go. Liam held her tightly, peppering her with gentle, reassuring kisses. Could she really have claustrophobia? She's always so strong. What could have happened to leave her this scared? Rania, in the darkness, seemed to see her gentle mother. Her awareness faded, and finally she fainted in the man's arms. 10 minutes later, repair staff finally arrived to rescue them. Liam hurried Rania to the ER. The doctor examined her and said she just needed a little oxygen and rest to recover. Only then did he relax slightly. The repair manager asked, The elevator was clearly marked under maintenance. How did people get in? The worker shrugged. I really did turn off the elevator controls. Liam felt a creeping sense that this incident was probably not as simple as it seemed. So frightened that the manager thought he might call the police, he insisted he would investigate the incident thoroughly. Liam didn't pay him any attention. He instructed his assistant, Alex Song, to retrieve the hospital surveillance footage. On the line, Alex said, "I'm in the monitoring room now, but someone's already deleted the camera footage." Liam asked if there was anything else the assistant had found. Alex paused, then said, "At the moment, there's no lead here. But a few days ago during the charity event, the camera footage from when you were drugged also went missing. The two incidents seem oddly connected. And last time you were drugged, it was most likely Chloe Chase." At this moment, Chloe deliberately dressed conservatively and made her way to Rania's hospital room. She sneaked a peek inside, teeth gritted in anger. "After wasting half a day orchestrating that elevator incident, I can't believe that wretched girl survived." Suddenly, a cold voice rang from behind her. "Chloe Chase, what are you doing here?" Startled, she turned to see Liam, a cold sweat breaking out. I just came to see if Dr. Rania was okay." Liam stared at her with icy eyes. "You sure find out things fast, and your timing is quite convenient, isn't it?" Chloe quickly scrambled for an excuse. I wasn't here for that. I just came to visit my grandfather and happened to overhear the nurses talking." Liam snorted coldly. "Seems like you only know Rania was trapped in the elevator and don't realize I was in there too." Chloe, flustered, stammered something incoherent. He glanced at her. "You'd better genuinely not understand my meaning, and not pretend you don't." Chloe originally wanted to follow him into the hospital room. Liam slammed the door shut, blocking her out. Inside, Rania had already woken up and, propping herself up, teased him. "Oh, President Bo, are you really that fierce with women?" She couldn't help but let out a soft laugh. The man felt a small sense of satisfaction. "She's jealous again, so she still cares about me." He moved the chair next to her bed. "Earlier in the elevator you were so scared. Was it really claustrophobia?" Rania shook her head vigorously. "No, I'm fine. It wasn't that. Don't talk nonsense." Liam asked seriously. "Was it a breathing problem? You don't need to hold back in front of me." Rania scratched her head hesitantly. "It's not an illness. Just pretend I have claustrophobia." After a pause, she suddenly leaned close to his ear and whispered, "Actually, I was poisoned with a rare ancient toxin. Someone has me under control." Liam stared at her as if she were insane. "I know a very famous psychologist, excellent at treating delusions. Maybe I should introduce you to her sometime." Rania shot him a disdainful glare, rolled over, and lay down. "Believe it or not, I'm going to sleep now." Liam wanted to say something comforting, but she had already turned her back and fallen asleep. A rare chance to be alone with his wife had slipped away, and he had upset her instead. He hurriedly moved the chair to the other side. Gently stroking her sleeping face, he couldn't help but curve his lips into a small smile. But he didn't know that Rania had fallen into that terrifying dream again. "The poison is meant to subdue me? You really underestimate me." A masked man with golden hair laughed cruelly. "This isn't ordinary poison. It's the legendary ancient toxin, Fading Charm. From the moment it enters her body, it will endlessly torment both her mind and body, binding her life to mine. To suppress its effects, she will have no choice but to submit to me. He 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 he." Rania gritted her teeth, using every ounce of strength to push the lecherous man away. The golden-haired man snorted coldly. "Her spirit is fierce indeed, but I'm confident that one day she will kneel before me, crying and begging." Rania endured the Fading Charm's torture, living a life worse than death, yet she refused to submit. She didn't believe any poison could truly be unbeatable. By the time she woke from the nightmare, it was already early the next morning. Seeing Liam asleep beside her bed, watching over her through the night, gave her a slight sense of reassurance. After tidying up, she called Jaden to tell him to come complete the discharge procedures. Before leaving, she glanced at the foolish man still fast asleep, then gently closed the door behind her. Back at home, she explained to Jaden that the hospital elevator camera footage had been deleted by a hacker. As Rania was about to hack back, a sudden dizziness hit her. The letters on her computer screen blurred, then her vision went completely dark. Her entire body collapsed to the ground, unconscious. The sound of a door opening echoed. Liam rushed frantically to Rania's mansion. He hurriedly lifted her off the floor, checking her temperature and breathing. Still normal. He guessed she was just asleep. That idiot Jaden even claimed Rania was in mortal danger? Was he joking? At this moment, he heard the woman mumbling incoherently. "Liam will come save me, go away," she shouted, struggling and pushing him away. During her thrashing, the laptop on the nearby table tumbled to the floor with a loud crash. Liam held her close, soothing her. "Don't be afraid, honey. Your husband's here to save you." Sensing his familiar scent, Rania gradually relaxed and sank into a deep sleep. After this ordeal, she was drenched in sweat, her clothes completely soaked. Liam carried her toward the bed. Thinking that sleeping in wet clothes could make her sick, he decided to change her into something clean. After tucking her in, He went to the wardrobe to find a set of pajamas for her. Rania, as if still trapped in a nightmare, cried out, "Don't go!" She stretched her hand trying to grab something but missed. Suddenly, she opened her eyes, covered in cold sweat, and sat up in bed. Liam startled and turned, and their eyes met. When Rania saw what he was holding in his hands, CEO Bo breaking into someone's home at midnight to steal lingerie? Is this moral corruption or just a twist of human nature? Liam felt mortified, wishing he could crawl into the ground. He wanted to explain, but didn't know where to start. Angrily, he stepped forward and pressed close against her body. "In the end, you just can't stay away from me, can you? You actually had the nerve to trick me into coming here. You're really something." Rania's gaze drifted toward the thing he was holding in his hand. "Mr. Bo, could you please put my clothes down before saying such shameless things?" Liam's face turned red as he tossed her underwear at her, telling her to hurry up and take a shower and change. By the time Rania finished her shower, half an hour had already passed. When she came out, she saw that the man had helped himself to sleep. She couldn't tell whether he was actually asleep or just pretending. She sat down on the bed, thinking to herself, forget it. Since Fading Charm for some reason seems to like him, I'll let it slide tonight. The next day at the office, perhaps because he'd slept well the night before, President Bo was in a great mood all day. Even when his young secretary accidentally spilled coffee, he didn't get mad. It scared the poor girl so much she almost thought she was about to be fired. Still dazed, she went out and asked Assistant Alex Song, "President Bo isn't as scary as you said, you know?" While making coffee, Alex replied, "That's because you didn't know him a few years ago. Back then, his moods changed like the wind. He yelled at employees until they cried all the time. After he got married, it took ages before he started smiling again, and now he's pulling stunts like this." "All right, enough gossiping. Get back to work," Alex said, and the secretary quickly slipped away. A little while later, Alex went to the president's office. He handed over the documents and said, "Ms. Chloe Chase still hasn't found any evidence, but the hacker who deleted the surveillance footage has been traced. He's from Apex Tech." Liam stared out the window, silent for a moment, then said coldly, "It's getting cold. Time to let Apex Tech go bankrupt." Meanwhile, on Rania's side, she stared at her computer that refused to turn on, her head pounding. This broken thing really doesn't last, does it? Looks like the only option is to upgrade and replace the hardware, she thought, deciding to make a trip to Apex Tech to check whether the custom components she'd ordered were ready. Director Gwen burst excitedly into the office, shouting, "Oh, the legend is coming to pick up her custom chip. Everyone get ready." Beside her, Leolyn scoffed. "It's just some O, right? Do we really need to make such a big deal about it?" Director Gwen didn't even look up. "Kid, you have no idea how valuable O is." Leo, still unconvinced, asked, "So, is she better than Lynn?" Director Gwen, busy as ever, replied, "Even if Lynn's a top-tier hacker, when it comes to hardware, he's nowhere near O. More than half of our company's hardware designs come from her. Apex Tech is #1 in the industry because of that woman." Just then, a cheerful female voice came from the door. "Director Gwen, I'm here!" Director Gwen greeted her warmly. When Leo saw who it was, his face instantly froze. Wasn't that the same Dr. Rania who'd appeared in the elevator footage Chloe Chase told him to delete? Rania found an empty chair, opened her broken laptop, and asked Director Gwen to fetch the parts from the list she'd prepared. Director Gwen took the list and headed straight to the R&D center, telling Leo to stay and assist the master herself. In no time, Rania had replaced all the faulty components. The laptop booted up smoothly and ran perfectly. Once she swapped out the case, it was as good as new. Leo watched her quick, effortless moves, his jaw dropping. She'd just added a single chip, costing less than $10, and somehow doubled the computer's performance. At that moment, the stock department manager rushed in, panicked. "Something's wrong. Apex Tech's stock price is plummeting like crazy. Someone's clearly manipulating it." Director Gwen looked bewildered. "I just handle the tech side. You should be telling Uncle Leo about this." The manager, sweating, replied, "I tried calling him, but he's not answering." At the mention of malicious manipulation, Rania's interest was instantly piqued. "Let me take a look. Let's see who's behind this little trick." Director Gwen's eyes lit up. "You really think you can figure it out?" Rania smiled confidently. "We'll see soon enough." Meanwhile, over at Bo Corporation, Alex came rushing into the CEO's office, shouting, "President Bo, Apex Tech stock seems completely out of control." Liam's face was tense as he stared at the red and green lines jumping on the screen. After a long silence, both of them kept watching. Then Alex frowned and said, "Wait, the pattern of those rises and drops. Doesn't it look kind of like Morse code?" Liam told him to translate it immediately. Alex read it out letter by letter, then suddenly blurted out, "Liam Bo, you idiot." President Bo completely lost his temper and threw a punch. Alex fell to the floor, clutching his cheek and whining, "I swear I wasn't calling you names, the stock message was." Fuming, Liam stormed out, jumped into his car, and sped straight to Apex Tech headquarters. He was determined to find out who had the nerve to mess with him like this. He burst through the main doors and barked, "Get your president out here!" The receptionist, trembling at his murderous look, stammered, "Do you have an appointment?" Just then, a calm, teasing female voice sounded from the side. "Business negotiations require appointments, President Bo. Don't you know the rules?" Or maybe President Bo's malicious manipulation backfired, and he's come to apologize and beg for forgiveness. When Liam turned around, he saw it was Rania. His attitude instantly flipped. He smiled warmly and asked, "So, is Apex Tech under your protection?" Rania gave a small laugh. "And what does it matter to you who's protecting Apex Tech?" Liam immediately dropped his plan to crush Apex Tech and ordered Alex to prepare documents for Bo Corporation to invest $100 million in the company. Rania looked at her ex-husband in confusion, wondering what kind of ridiculous stunt he was pulling this time. One moment furious, the next all polite, waving his hand and throwing around $100 million like it was nothing. Everyone present was stunned by his sudden move. Rania glared at him angrily. "President Bo, are you out of your mind?" Liam, looking pleased with himself, turned and walked toward the door. "Who I invest in is none of your business." Everyone, thrilled by this unexpected windfall, went wild, praising Rania. Compliments poured in. "Bosso really lives up to her name. Even President Bo is wrapped around her finger." Leo Lin even declared, "From today on, I'm the great boss's loyal dog." Rania waved her hand helplessly. "All right, enough already. Just do your jobs for Uncle Leo and consider that my thanks. Send my newly upgraded laptop home once the new case is fitted." On the drive back, Secretary Alex Song asked in disbelief, "Was that investment for real?" Liam gazed out the window at the scenery, not even lifting his eyelids. "If you don't focus on driving, you'll be fired." Alex immediately shut up and kept his mouth closed. Suddenly, the phone chimed with a ding. Liam picked it up and looked at it, a bit surprised. It was a friend request from someone named Miss O, with a note saying, "I have evidence of Chloe Chase's crimes." After he accepted it, the sender forwarded a video filled with all kinds of dirt on Chloe Chase. The bold headline read, "Heiress involved in gambling and drugs, now under police arrest." The sender's tone was clearly obsequious, explaining they were just paid to do a job and asking him to make sure any revenge was directed at the real mastermind. Liam was stunned after watching the clip. Before he could say anything, his annoying secretary cut him off, mumbling, "Sir, I'm trying to focus on driving here." "Forget it," Liam snapped. "You won't need to drive anymore." He yanked Alex out of the car and beat him black and blue. Finally, all his pent-up anger was released. Alex was nearly in tears, thinking, "What did I ever do to deserve this?" Meanwhile, back home, Rania quickly came across the viral video. Online, people were tearing into the scandal, disgusted that a wealthy socialite could live such a rotten life. Rania couldn't help but sigh. Sending someone like that straight to prison, what a brutal yet thorough move. Jaden asked her, "What do you mean by that?" Rania replied, "For someone like Chloe Chase, her only value was marrying rich. Now that she's got a criminal record, no rich man will ever touch her again." Jaden grinned, clearly amused. "I'm honestly curious, who exactly managed to throw her in jail?" Back at the company, Alex reported, "The $100 million investment in Apex Tech has been transferred, but they haven't responded at all." Liam glanced through the documents and nodded. That only confirms one thing. The connection between Rania and Uncle Leo runs much deeper than it looks. From a tech genius to a boxing champion, and even a master artist. Just how many secrets does that mysterious ex-wife of his still have? It was enough to make anyone curious. Alex said, "Why don't we hire Great Eagle to investigate a bit? I heard Hacker Lynn just joined their alliance and even helped catch a few international criminals recently." Liam thought for a moment before replying, "Let's drop it." Then he stepped out onto the balcony and made a call. The person on the other end said that although they still hadn't uncovered O's true identity, they were certain O wasn't their enemy. Only then did Liam relax a little. He told the contact to pay special attention to the name Rania Sue whenever they accepted new assignments. The other party asked if they should look into her. Liam shook his head. No need. If anyone ever commissions an investigation on her, reject it outright. Mrs. Chase, barely containing her fury, slapped her useless daughter hard across the face, scolding her for being nothing but a spoiled, money-burning parasite. Clutching her reddened cheek, Chloe tried to defend herself. "It's just a criminal record. Liam won't abandon me over that." Mrs. Chase could only feel deep regret for raising such a failure. After this scandal, what respectable family would ever want to marry this idiot? Unable to calm down, she kicked her daughter again. "You made this mess yourself. Figure out how to clean it up. Otherwise, get ready to be kicked out of the Chase family. Chloe gritted her teeth in rage. How was she supposed to fix this? Then suddenly she remembered someone, the hacker Leo Lin, who used to clean up her messes before. She immediately texted him in anger, demanding an explanation and threatening to drag him down with her if he didn't help. But to her shock, he coolly replied, "You should look for that O1 guy. He was your partner in crime. What's this got to do with Miss O's dog?" All she knew about that hacker was his codename, O1, nothing more. The helplessness and fury made her whole body tremble. Meanwhile, Leo Lin was smirking with satisfaction. How dare that stupid woman try to drag him down after crossing his great boss O? Keep dreaming. Just then, his mentor suddenly called. As soon as he picked up, an angry roar blasted through the phone. "You little brat! I didn't teach you hacking so you could go around causing trouble." Leo immediately bowed his head and apologized. "I know I was wrong, Master. I've been reflecting on it. I won't do it again." His mentor's tone softened slightly. "Fine. Here's your chance to make it right. Use Chloe Chase as bait and reel in a few fish for us." Leo's eyes lit up with excitement. "Master, if I pull this off, will you recommend me to join the Urban Shadow?" His mentor replied flatly, "That depends on what kind of fish you can catch." Leo collapsed onto the couch with a sigh. "Guess I've got another job to handle." Meanwhile, Rania had just finished showering when she got a call from her superior. They said there was an official assignment meant for her, the pay was up to her, and there was no time limit. Half asleep, she lazily asked what the assignment was about. The caller simply said 2 words, "Investigate Hawk." Instantly, Rania perked up and asked what he had done. The person replied, "He's been colluding with the Zodiac terrorist organization." Rania had heard rumors before about some shady dealings in the Hawk family's business, but she hadn't expected them to be connected to the Zodiac. She straightened up and said seriously, "I'll take the job." Right after hanging up, the doorbell suddenly rang. "Your new computer has arrived, please sign for it." Rania opened the door to her room. A shadowy hand lunged toward her, but her reflexes were faster. She dodged and immediately countered, subduing the man in one smooth move. A familiar voice groaned, "Ow, ow, ow, I surrender!" Rania quickly let go, her face full of disbelief. "Uncle Leo, what on earth are you doing here?" Uncle Leo's eyes welled up as he pretended to cry. "My dear Rania, you've grown up and turned cold to this old man. You won't even let me pat your head anymore, and you won't call me Uncle Leo either." Rania was speechless. Did this old guy really come all this way just to ruffle my hair? Uncle Leo chuckled and carried the computer inside. "I saw you and that brat sparring, messing with Apex Tech's stock. Got curious, so I came to check it out. Tell me, what are you 2 kids fighting about this time?" While pouring him tea, Rania said calmly, "We're not fighting, we just got divorced." Uncle Leo froze mid-unboxing. "Divorced and you're calling that no big deal?" Rania replied nonchalantly, "These days, young people get divorced all the time. Uncle Leo, you really don't need to worry about me." Uncle Leo couldn't help but think of his late younger sister and sighed, regretting that he hadn't done a better job taking care of her daughter. Rania gently patted his hand and said, "Uncle Leo, please don't blame yourself. If Mom can see from the afterlife, she'll understand." Hearing that, Uncle Leo immediately asked, "Did that punk Liam Bo bully you?" Rania's mind drifted back to their short 4-year marriage. When they got married, the two had signed an agreement. Once his grandfather passed away, they would divorce. And sure enough, after the old man died, Liam didn't hesitate for a moment. He filed for divorce. The divorce papers came through just as the funeral ended. Rania shook her head, coming back to her senses, and handed Uncle Leo a cup of the red tea she had just brewed. She explained that there had never been real feelings between them. The divorce was simply finishing what they had planned from the start. Then she forced a small smile and told him not to worry about her anymore. Just then, her phone chimed with a new message. It was from her ex-sister-in-law, Bella Bow. It said she wanted to thank Rania for saving her last time and insisted on meeting in person. Uncle Leo noticed the odd expression on her face. He chuckled, waved his hand, and stood up. "You go ahead and set up your new computer. I'll get out of your hair," he said cheerfully, leaving Rania a bit puzzled. That evening, Rania went to the Jade Pavilion for the meeting. But to her surprise, Liam was already there. They sat staring awkwardly at each other for what felt like forever, and no one else showed up. Suddenly, both their phones buzzed with a new message. "Brother, sister-in-law, something urgent came up so I can't make it. I already ordered the food, don't let it go to waste." Back at home, Bella wore a sly grin. "That's as much as I can do for you two." Liam felt a bit smug, thinking, "Since when did my little sister get so thoughtful?" But Rania's face darkened. Wasn't this an obvious setup to get her alone with her ex-husband? Liam awkwardly asked, "Should we eat?" Rania snapped, "Of course. We're already here, aren't we?" A friendly waiter approached, glanced at the menu, and asked, "Miss Sue, these dishes were your order, right?" Hearing the waiter call her Miss Sue so casually, Liam's temper flared instantly. Rania simply smiled and nodded to the waiter. The waiter walked up to her with a cheerful smile and said, "Then I'll adjust the next dishes to suit your taste, miss." Once he left, Liam's face darkened. "Are all your employees this rude?" he asked coldly. Rania neatly arranged her utensils and replied seriously, "He has a cognitive condition. His mental development is about that of a 5-year-old. You can criticize his cooking if you want, but please respect him as a person." Liam couldn't help but notice how well she seemed to know even a regular waiter. Suspicion crept into his mind as he asked, "Don't tell me this restaurant belongs to you?" Rania shot him a glance. "And if it does? What if it doesn't?" she replied flatly. Suddenly, Liam jabbed his own finger with his fork, drawing a few drops of blood. Rania frowned, wondering what ridiculous stunt he was trying to pull this time. Then he slammed his hand on the table, stood up, and shouted, "I've been injured! I want to speak to the manager!" His outburst drew everyone's attention in the restaurant. Rania clenched her teeth and hissed under her breath, "Sit down right now." She then pulled a small bandage from her purse and placed it carefully over the tiny, almost invisible wound on his finger. Suppressing her irritation, she forced a polite smile and said in a professional tone, "Your complaint has been resolved, sir. Please enjoy your meal." Instead of being upset, Liam grinned and casually placed a meatball into her bowl. Rania glared at him in fury. "All right, what exactly do you want?" she demanded. Liam calmly wiped his mouth and replied, "I'm just eating, like I always do." Rania didn't want to argue with this drama king any longer. She stood up and said curtly, "Then take your time. Enjoy your meal," before heading toward the door. Liam immediately stood and followed her. Without turning back, Rania asked, "Why are you following me?" Her ex-husband suddenly stepped forward and pinned her against the wall. Then he rested his head against her chest. Rania, furious, was about to kick him away, but he muttered wearily, "I'm so hungry." Rania saw right through his act and snapped, "Are you ever going to stop?" This was the same CEO that every woman dreamed about? How could he act so childish? Liam didn't get angry. Instead, he smiled and said, "Does it really matter what people think of me?" Rania asked him, "So it really doesn't matter to you?" Liam dropped his teasing smile and said calmly, "People work hard to climb higher in life so they can live on their own terms, not bow to anyone else's mood." Then he leaned closer, his voice low and teasing. "Everyone else listens to me without question, but you're the only one who dares to push my buttons. Doesn't that make you just as stubborn?" Rania's mind buzzed for a moment as she suddenly remembered something from her childhood. Her mysterious masked mentor had once told her the very same thing. He had said, "Only when you learn to control your own destiny will no one ever bully you again." Now she finally understood. Liam hadn't been clueless all along. He'd just been pretending. Curious, she asked him, "So this stubborn thing you wanted to do, what is it exactly?" Liam clutched his stomach, which let out a loud growl, and blushed. "I want to eat a meal cooked by you," he admitted. Rania was completely speechless. After all that drama, it turned out he just wanted dinner. And so the divine master chef Rania had no choice but to get to work once again. As she cooked, she grumbled, "What's so bad about the food at the Jade Pavilion? Why won't you eat there?" Liam replied seriously, "It doesn't taste good." Rania shot him a glare. "I designed that menu myself, and the chefs there are just as skilled as I am." Liam pretended to think deeply for a few seconds. Maybe the ingredients aren't fresh enough. Looks like Chef Rania needs to tighten quality control. Rania picked up the freshly made dish and pretended to toss it into the trash. "Say one more word, and this goes straight in." Liam hurriedly snatched the plate away, but still muttered, "Hey, I'm just making a reasonable customer request." Watching her in an apron, surrounded by steaming dishes, reminded him of their cozy home before the divorce. But Rania was already typing something on her laptop. A few seconds later, she held her phone up to him, expressionless. "This is the bill for the restaurant owner's personal home-cooked service. Card or cash?" The domineering CEO didn't say a word. He simply pulled out his phone and transferred the money. Rania glanced at the amount and felt the corner of her mouth twitch. Her ex-husband chuckled and said, "I'm very satisfied with your service. The extra's a tip." Then he picked up his chopsticks and started enjoying the food. Honestly, his dear ex-wife's cooking skills were top-notch. He turned around, ready to compliment her, but she was already gone. Damn it, did she just teleport or something? Liam's good mood vanished instantly. Grinding his teeth, he snapped the chopsticks clean in half. He slammed the table and got up, ready to go find her and settle the score. But when he looked at the table full of delicious food, he sighed, sat back down, and smiled again. In this world, only Rania and good food could never be betrayed. He could eat first and hunt her down later. After devouring the meal like a battlefield victory, he calmly wiped his mouth and told his assistant, "Pack up the leftovers and store them properly. Watch the temperature carefully." His assistant looked like he wanted to cry. The fridge wasn't exactly magical, after all. Liam shot him a glare. "Can't you just buy a few more cold storage units?" The assistant's face twitched. Was the boss's full stomach cutting off his brain circulation? As Liam stood to leave, the assistant hurriedly grabbed a few pill bottles from a drawer and shouted after him, "Sir, you haven't taken your stomach medicine today." Without even turning around, Liam replied, "Don't need it. Her cooking never upsets my stomach." 10 minutes later, a helicopter lifted off from above the mansion. The pilot reported, "The private air route to your wife's house is open, sir. Only you have access." At that moment, Rania had just finished showering and was drying her hair by the window. Suddenly, she heard a low whirring sound overhead and curiously pushed the window open. She saw a helicopter flying straight toward her house. In no time, it landed smoothly in her yard. Then her ex-husband stepped out, waving at her with a grin. "Good evening, sweetheart." Rania looked at her wrecked garden and furiously demanded, "What kind of stunt are you pulling now?" Liam answered matter-of-factly, "Your rooftop helipad was full of clutter, so I had no choice but to land here." Rania decided that tomorrow she'd have the security guards put up a huge sign, "No entry, Liam Bow, and dogs not allowed." Then she snapped, "You're flying that thing all over the city. Do you even have a permit?" Liam just laughed. "Of course. I opened a private flight route from my house straight to yours." Rania almost choked in disbelief. When she looked down, she saw that several of her prized orchids had been crushed, making her even angrier. Liam casually walked toward the door and said, "No big deal. Starting tomorrow, the River City Orchid Farm is yours." Then he strolled right in like he owned the place. The homeowner, Rania, chased after him. "What? Do you have a break in addiction now? Showing up in the middle of the night, what's your real motive?" Before she could finish, she froze. Liam had started taking off his clothes and climbed straight onto her bed. He muttered, "I just wanted to find a place in this noisy city where I could actually get a good night's sleep." A moment later, less than 3 seconds really, soft snoring filled the room. Rania, livid, reached out to yank him up. But then she caught a faint whiff of his familiar shampoo. So he had even showered before showing up. Great, he came over just to crash at her place. She sighed. Forget it. The house had more than one bed anyway. She was just about to head to the guest room when the strange energy inside her, the so-called fading charm, suddenly stirred again, agitated. For some reason, it seemed oddly drawn to Liam. Fine then, she'd just tolerate sharing the bed tonight. Looking at the man sleeping soundly beside her, Rania felt a wave of mixed emotions. Ever since the divorce, her fading charm episodes had become more frequent. Was she really supposed to consider getting back together with this childish idiot? Her mind immediately staged a ridiculous little drama. "See? You can't live without me, can you? To cure your condition, we'll just have to do it 7 times a night. If you want to suppress the pain, then come beg me." Just imagining that smug, demonic grin of his made Rania want to die on the spot. There was no way she'd ever let him know the truth, and besides, it wasn't like he was the only way to ease her symptoms. After a dreamless night, Rania woke up to find it was already 10 in the morning. That jerk Liam must have turned off her alarm again. Whatever. She didn't have anything urgent to deal with today anyway. After washing up and getting ready, the ever-flattering Jaden asked if she had any plans for the day. Rania replied while heading out that Mrs. Thompson had invited her to lunch to discuss something. Jaden was just about to offer to drive her when, suddenly, a bunch of balloons and ribbons floated up in front of her. On the ribbons were words that read, "Good morning, my wife. Hope you have a wonderful day." Rania froze for a moment. She hadn't expected that guy, who usually just spent money wildly on gifts, would come up with something like this. But her amusement lasted all of 3 seconds before she noticed the writing on the other balloons and ribbons. "Honey, I want braised beef with radish. Also craving red bean cakes and mung bean ice cream." That jerk. Did he think she was his personal chef now? Furious, Rania stomped on the decorations a few times and told Jaden to dump the whole lot right in front of Southern Prosperity Airlines. Half an hour later, a curious crowd had gathered outside Southern Prosperity Airlines. Balloons, ribbons, flowers. It looked like some rich young master was pulling off a grand romantic stunt. But when they spotted a note taped to one of the balloons, everyone froze. "Liam Bow, if you're craving something to eat, please turn right and drive 8 kilometers. Delicious dishes await you. We've even included a phone number for orders." A security guard glanced at it and chuckled. "President Bow sure has simple tastes, but which restaurant dares to advertise like this?" Then he frowned. 8 kilometers to the right. Isn't that the Jade Pavilion? Clearly, the Jade Pavilion and Southern Prosperity Airlines had teamed up for some sort of publicity stunt, and their own boss was the face of it. Quick, post it online. This'll go viral for sure. And indeed, within no time, the entertainment hot searches were flooded with this topic. Of course, the mastermind himself, President Bo, saw the news too. His expression darkened as he called his assistant, Alex, out of the restroom. He ordered him to go outside and check if the ribbons were still there. Alex cautiously asked, "Should I suppress the trending topic?" President Bo suddenly laughed. No, I want to frame that masterpiece of calligraphy and hang it in my office." Alex could only stare, at a complete loss for words. "Sir, your hobbies are really something else." Mrs. Thompson, who rarely meddled in her husband's affairs, had specially arranged to meet Rania that day. She politely said, "River City hosts a New Year's celebration every year, but our ratings are always lower than other cities. Rania, if you're free, could you help out as a performance consultant?" Rania smiled. "Mayor, you're being too polite. We're family, of course I'll help." Mayor Thompson then asked, "Would it be possible to use your title, Master Sue, for promotion?" Rania took a sip of tea and thought for a moment before replying. "Using my name might attract some attention at first, but that's not a long-term solution. The real key is to improve the quality of the show so that everyone knows and remembers River City." Mayor Thompson nodded eagerly. Yes, exactly, that's what I meant. "Rania, you're the best. So this New Year's gala is all yours to plan." Rania didn't really want to take it on, but out of respect for Mrs. Thompson, she gritted her teeth and agreed. Back in the car, she sighed reluctantly, thinking, "Great, another thing to keep me busy." Jaden, ever thoughtless, congratulated the boss, saying the omnipotent leader had just taken another big step forward. Rania looked out the window and calmly said, "Honestly, I'd rather avoid all this drama and live a quiet life. It's just not the right time yet." As they passed another vehicle on the roadside, she suddenly noticed something. She told Jaden to stop the car immediately. "There's been an accident, call 911 now." Some people tumbled and crawled out of a vehicle and ran off into the distance. Rania was about to give chase when she realized there were small children in the wrecked cabin, crying loudly. Jaden rushed over, scooped the kids up, and trying to comfort them asked, puzzled, why those people were completely ignoring the children and trying to flee. Rania also felt something was off. The truck up ahead clearly bore full responsibility. Why would they run? She set off quickly after them. She knocked several of them down. The quick takedown left Jaden and the rescued kids staring in stunned silence. Those people were taken to the police station for questioning. The officers discovered the supposed victims were actually human traffickers who'd been on the run for years. Meanwhile, at the Hawk residence, CEO Julian Hawk was furiously whipping his second aunt as she knelt on the floor, shouting that the children were meant to be sold to nobility in a foreign country. And now that things had gone wrong, how was he supposed to make the delivery? The second aunt, trembling in pain, begged him to stop and urged him to go to the police. Surrender, testify, and expose the Zodiac organization. They might receive leniency. But before she finished, Julian, like a man possessed, lashed her again. "What are you still being naive about? Do you think now's the time for illusions?" The second aunt wailed and wept. "You weren't always like this. Please, spare the Hawk family." Julian laughed like a demon, saying there was no turning back now. None of the Hawk family deserved to live. At the hospital, each rescued child was given a meal, the same one served to guests at a 5-star hotel. The young nurses were buzzing with excitement, each of them dying to know which big shot had just shown up. Fresh out of surgery, Rania overheard their chatter and couldn't help feeling a little curious herself. After thinking for a moment, she headed toward her office. When she pushed the door open, she saw a man sneaking around, setting something up on her desk. Irritated, she demanded, "What are you doing?" It turned out to be her ex-husband, bowing dramatically. "Your premium server, Liam, at your service, ma'am." Rania was speechless. What kind of ridiculous stunt was he pulling now? She pointed toward the door. "The hospital's psychiatric department is pretty good. President Bo, if you've got free time, maybe you should get a checkup." Her ex-husband, looking infuriatingly pleased with himself, leaned in and pinned her lightly against the wall. "I'm just asking you out for dinner. No need to have me committed, is there?" Rania calmly stepped aside. "Do you seriously not realize you've got issues?" Liam leaned close to her ear, his voice teasing. "You're right. I'm sick, terminally even. Dr. Rania, would you be kind enough to heal me?" Rania shoved him back. "I'm a surgeon. I treat with a scalpel. So tell me, Mr. Bo, you want me to cut your cerebellum, your cerebrum, or should I just remove the whole head?" Talking to him was utterly pointless. She turned toward the door and said, "I've got dinner plans with colleagues at the Jade Pavilion. I don't have time to play house with you." Just then, her phone rang. The moment she answered, an excited voice came through. "The delivery smells amazing. Let's go to the Jade Pavilion some other day." Rania froze, mortified, while Liam behind her wore a grin that said he was thoroughly enjoying her embarrassment. Fuming, Rania asked, "This was part of your plan too, wasn't it?" Resigned, she sat down to eat, only to notice Liam hadn't even picked up his chopsticks. He just sat there, smiling like an idiot at her. She frowned. "Did you already eat?" Liam shook his head. "Then why are you just staring at me?" she asked, puzzled. The smug CEO picked up a crab. "Guess I'll make do and eat a little then." Rania quickly grabbed his hand. "Wait! Don't peel it yourself. If you stab your hand again, you'll just blame me for it." She snatched the crab from him. Liam stayed silent for a few seconds. Then he suddenly tightened his grip around her wrist. "If I don't cut my hand, can I still go crazy instead?" Rania struggled to pull away. "You're already acting crazy and you're way out of line." Liam pulled her close and said, "You pretended to be obedient in front of me for 4 years, doing everything I asked without question. You never once asked for anything except a divorce. Now that I've turned into this unreasonable mess, you should take responsibility for it. If you don't cure me, I'll spend the rest of my life doing whatever I want with you." Rania was at a loss for words. His face kept inching closer until she snapped out of it and turned her head away. "The food's in my bowl, not on my face. Please aim properly before you open your mouth, Mr. Beau." But her ex-husband didn't let go. He said seriously, "There really is something on your face." Rania instinctively turned her head, only for Liam to plant a light kiss on her cheek. Furious, she shoved him back into his seat. She said, "If you're done with your tantrum, then eat. I've got work to do tonight." Liam, looking pleased with himself, pretended not to hear, picked up a rib, and shamelessly asked, "Want me to feed you?" That was the last straw for Rania. "I have hands, thanks!" she shouted. The outburst startled 2 nurses passing by the door. Dr. Rania was usually so calm. What on earth had provoked her like this? When the old man finally woke up, Rania hesitated for a while, but decided to ask him some questions about his condition. "Judging from the injury on your knee, it doesn't look like an accident. It seems more like someone deliberately struck you with a heavy object. If you'd like, our hospital can contact the police for you. And you don't need to worry, even if it's an overseas Zodiac organization, we have ways of handling it." Rania was actually trying to test him, but the old man didn't react to the mention of that name. She couldn't tell if he was truly clueless or just a very good actor. Just then, the door to the hospital room opened with a click. Julian Hawk entered, his expression dark. "Dr. Wang already went over the post-surgery instructions," he said flatly. "If there are no issues, I'd like to have my grandfather discharged as soon as possible. Our family has a private doctor who can take excellent care of him." Keeping her expression calm, Rania replied, "Hospital policy requires the patient to stay for observation before being discharged. I hope young Master Hawk will understand and not make things difficult for us." Julian gave her a long, meaningful look. "Then I hope Dr. Rania focuses on doing her job. The less you pry into matters that don't concern you, the better. Otherwise, I might start feeling uncomfortable." The warning in his tone was unmistakable, and his reaction only confirmed Rania's earlier suspicions. She'd planned to use the old man's treatment as an opportunity to investigate the Hawk family, but she hadn't expected Julian to be this vigilant. Clearly, something was off about them. She let out a cold laugh. "When we first started treatment, young Master Hawk was all politeness and gratitude. I didn't expect you'd turn your back so quickly once it was over." With a cryptic tone, Julian said, "I recall that Dr. Rania doesn't have the best relationship with her father. Once you're done dealing with his issues, what will you do next? Will you keep showing off your power, or will you finally learn to keep your head down? That all depends on your behavior, Dr. Rania. As for my grandfather..." At that moment, the door suddenly burst open with a loud bang, and Liam stormed in, his face dark with anger. "I heard there's trouble here," he said coolly. "Thought I'd come see which rebellious brat's acting up tonight." He shot Julian a sharp glance and added with a smirk, "Oh, turns out it's the famously filial grandson of the Hawk family. Tell me, who exactly are you putting on that two-faced act for?" Unwilling to back down, Julian retorted, "No matter how arrogant young Master Beau acts, at the end of the day, all he can do is bark. He doesn't dare bite. After all, the Beau family may have influence in River City, but you're still far from untouchable." Then he slammed the door behind him and left. Liam immediately stepped forward, asking his wife if she was okay. Rania, still calm, asked why he was even here so late. For once, Liam looked serious and said quietly, "This isn't the right place to talk. Let's go somewhere else." Liam briefly told her everything he knew about the Hawk family. When Rania finished listening, she looked stunned. "How do you even know all that?" she asked. Liam replied, "Because I installed a bug in the patient's room too." Rania shot him a sideways glance. The Beau and Hawk families, truly the definition of eternal enemies. Ignoring her teasing, Liam said seriously, "That Zodiac organization runs deep. You'd better stay far away from them." Rania gazed up at the starry night sky. But I have my own reasons for going after them. Liam took a sip of coffee. If you don't, you'll die or something? Rania went silent for a few seconds, then nodded. Yes, I will. Liam suddenly remembered something. Last time, you said you were poisoned by that fading charm toxin. Is it connected to the Zodiac? Rania smiled faintly. You figured it out that fast? Maybe President Bo isn't as dumb as I thought. Liam stared at her for a while. Between the two of us, you definitely look more like the one who's sick in the head. Rania clicked her tongue. Please, when it comes to acting crazy, you're the undisputed champion. Liam suddenly brushed his hair back, his expression shifting. Then I guess I'll stop pretending. Rania frowned, wondering what kind of stunt he was about to pull this time. Before she could react, he suddenly vaulted over the balcony railing. Friendly reminder, do not attempt this at home. The male lead is insane, you are not. Then Liam caught the railing with one hand and used the other to cradle her head. Rania exploded in anger. Are you out of your mind? What the hell are you trying to do this time? Liam smirked. If you don't want me to kiss you, then push me away. Before Rania could react, he lifted her chin and pressed his lips to hers. Her face flushed crimson from his teasing, and she thought to herself, this isn't good. Something inside her stirred uncontrollably. She gathered her strength and grabbed him by the collar. Then, with a swift move, she flipped him over her shoulder and sent him rolling across the ground. Bastard, she snapped. You'd better learn when to stop. Liam rubbed his head, got up from the floor and grinned. My wife still cares about me after all. Rania couldn't take it anymore. Get lost right now or I'll kick you straight off this roof. Before leaving, Liam chuckled and warned, my gentle, sweet wife, if you ever fell into the Zodiac's hands, you wouldn't last a single round. Furious, Rania grabbed a bucket of water and hurled it at him. That's none of your damn business. Get out of here. Liam dodged easily, and the bucket crashed into the window before tumbling to the ground. Rania touched her lips, remembering what had just happened. That infuriating man. Why does he always get under my skin so easily? She stared at the fallen bucket for a long time before snapping out of it. Then, scowling, she stomped over and crushed the bucket flat. If he dares pull a stunt like that again, I'll beat him senseless. While the boss was in the shower, Alex quickly called the old master to report on recent events, saying that the young master was still acting as crazy as ever. He barely eats, can't sleep, and spends all day obsessing over getting back together with his ex-wife. On the other end, the old master sighed heavily and told him, take good care of my son. If anything happens, let me know immediately. When Alex returned to the living room, he saw the young master freshly showered, sitting on the couch scrolling through his phone. He asked, do you want me to help dry your hair? Liam was reading a message revealing that years ago, the Zodiac organization had recruited a master poison maker named Phoenix, the creator of the fading charm toxin. As Alex was drying his hair, he glanced over casually and asked, what are you looking at? Liam quickly switched to a resort hotel website, straightened his expression, and said, tell me, if I take Rania abroad for a hot spring trip, wait for the perfect moment, give her a gift, and confess my feelings, she'll definitely be so touched she'll cry and beg to get back together with me. Trying to humor him, Alex nodded along and agreed half-heartedly, secretly thinking that Miss Rania would more likely drown him in that hot spring out of anger. Liam waved his hand decisively. It's settled then. Go make the arrangements. We'll leave in 3 days. Alex, already used to his boss's impulsive ideas, immediately went to book the flights and hotel. Once Alex left and closed the door behind him, Liam reopened the message interface from earlier. He told the other person to provide every detail they had on this Phoenix. Meanwhile, Rania scoffed coldly. That Julian Hawk guy may look composed on the surface, but underneath he's pure darkness. At least he hides it well, unlike someone else who sticks around like glue and refuses to listen to reason. Dr. Wang came over and said, the elderly patient you treated earlier, Mr. Chase, is getting discharged today. Do you want to check in on him? Rania nodded and headed toward his room. When she arrived, several family members were gathered around his bed. She reminded the old man of the usual post-discharge care, maintain a light diet, rest properly, avoid anger or stress, and call the hospital if anything comes up. Mr. Chase stared at her intensely. The more he looked, the more she resembled the daughter he'd lost years ago. His daughter-in-law hurried to his side, supporting him. Dad, you're mistaken. She's not her. Realizing what he'd said, Mr. Chase awkwardly apologized. Maybe my old eyes are playing tricks on me. Rania didn't take offense. After a few more instructions, she turned to leave. The old man watched her back as she walked away. Mrs. Chase sighed. After all these years without a word, she's clearly cut ties with you. Why bother thinking about her anymore? Their son chimed in. Exactly. She was always stubborn as a kid. You've worried over her for years for nothing. Mr. Chase rubbed his forehead in anguish and shouted, "Enough! She's still my daughter and your sister. I owe her far too much. If I ever find her, I'll make it right." Chloe, who had been quiet until now, suddenly seemed to remember something. She was about to ask why her aunt had left home back then, but her mother quickly stopped her. "Don't go poking around in things you shouldn't. You haven't even cleaned up your own mess yet." Chloe murmured softly, "Yeah, not yet. Please just give me a little more time, Mom." But this event was basically a hot potato, and all the program mentors knew it. In reality, the banquet was mostly for show, a chance for the daughters of wealthy families to flaunt their social status. As long as no one offended the wrong person, everyone could just go through the motions and be fine. Some people even seemed to enjoy the drama, eager to see what would happen. Word had it that the famous Master Sue had been invited to serve as the lead choreographer this time, so even if something went wrong, it wouldn't be their problem. Backstage, the young ladies were grumbling about how little screen time they'd gotten last year. Their families had waited all night, only to see them appear for a few fleeting seconds, leaving everyone frustrated. A girl wearing a beret ran her fingers through her hair, her expression full of arrogance. "If this new choreographer doesn't know how to play along, we'll protest together and demand they replace her." Just then, a cool, calm voice came from the doorway. "And who exactly do you plan on replacing?" The girl sneered. "And who are you supposed to be, barging onto the set like this?" Rania raised the tablet in her hand. "I'm the chief choreographer for this event." She added, "I hope we'll have a smooth collaboration," then clapped her hands once. "Everyone gather up." The girl scowled, unwilling to comply. "You tell us to gather and we're just supposed to jump?" Rania glanced down at the staff list. "You're Jessica Song, right?" Jessica shot her a sidelong glance. "Sorry, but I was personally invited by Mayor Thompson. If you've got a problem, take it up with him." The other girls exchanged uneasy looks. Calling the head of River City by name like that? Clearly, she came from a powerful background. Maybe it was best not to mess with her. Rania ignored her completely. With a snap of her fingers, several staff members walked in carrying elegant gift boxes. When they opened them, the boxes revealed exquisite dance shoes. One of the girls gasped. "These are the newest release from that international ballet brand. They cost like 20 grand a pair." Rania scanned the room. "Consider these your welcome gifts. Every performer needs a good pair of shoes, just like a soldier needs a reliable weapon. I hope you'll all work with me and give your best to make this performance outstanding." Quite a few girls were quickly won over by her generosity. Even if they didn't like her attitude, those high-end shoes were hard to resist. Jessica snorted dismissively. "What's she trying to prove, showing off how rich she is?" Rania simply pointed to a nearby drawing box. "Everyone, draw lots to determine your acts. Unless you have a particular performance specialty, you'll perform whatever you draw." After drawing lots, the girls immediately burst into chatter. Some couldn't sing, others didn't want to perform skits, and a few didn't know how to dance at all. It quickly turned into total chaos. Just then, Rania's phone started buzzing nonstop. The choreographer they had all underestimated turned out to have invited a world-class dance master. Leo Wei, in fact, was the personal choreographer for several top celebrities in the entertainment industry. After a brief introduction, the man announced that from today onward, his team would be in charge of coaching everyone for the New Year's gala performance. The crowd erupted in excitement, and one girl even ran up, squealing as she asked for his autograph. Rania clapped her hands to quiet everyone down. "All right, back to your spots. Follow your assigned draws and head to your respective practice rooms." When everyone else had left, one girl was still standing awkwardly in the corner, looking lost. Rania walked over and gently asked, "Is something wrong?" The girl stammered, "I play the zither." Rania glanced at her file. Her name was Lily Lee. Her specialty was zither performance, and she had autism, poor at communication, requiring special care. She reassured the girl softly, "Don't be afraid," and then led her to the music room. Lily took a deep breath and began to play a piece right there. Rania closed her eyes, listening intently. The girl's playing was truly beautiful. With proper guidance, she could one day become a zither master. Suddenly, the girl let out a startled cry. A string had snapped. Rania sighed lightly. "Just a little jumpy, that's all," she said with a gentle smile, comforting her. "It's all right, just keep playing, pretend I'm not even here." Lily's face flushed red, too nervous to respond. Rania added softly, "You can call me teacher if you'd like." "I feel such a warm familiarity with you," she said. "It's like my little sister has come back to me." She really had a younger sister once, but only until she was 8 years old. Her little sister and mother both died in a car accident. If her sister had survived, she'd probably be around the same age as this girl now. Lily blushed and softly called her sister, asking if it was okay to address her that way. Rania smiled and nodded. "Of course you can." In the nearby rehearsal room, Jessica, who had drawn the skit group, suddenly threw a tantrum like a spoiled princess. She tossed the script to the floor and shouted for her grandfather to replace that so-called Rania. Relying on her connection as someone personally invited by the mayor, she made a scene at the studio. "Grandpa, hurry up and call Mayor Thompson to stand up for me. Kick her out." At that moment, Liam was having afternoon tea with the mayor and his wife. Mayor Thompson, busy as ever, answered a call from an elder leader. "My eldest granddaughter just told me," the old man said sternly, "that the new choreographer you hired for the gala has been bullying her." Mayor Thompson let out two polite laughs. "Uncle Song, it's rare for you to call me. So it's about something this trivial?" The other man chuckled awkwardly, then asked if they could just let the matter go. The mayor's smile faded. "I'm afraid not." Hearing that, the elder's tone turned cold. "So now that you're running River City, you don't even bother to respect an old man like me anymore?" Mayor Thompson took a slow sip of tea and replied calmly, "I wouldn't dare. It's just that lately there have been people with ill intentions trying to stir up trouble. I'm merely helping straighten things out." When Liam heard the name Rania, his ears immediately perked up. Mrs. Thompson, unaware of his history with her, teased, "You seem awfully interested in that Miss Sue. Don't tell me you've got a crush?" Liam gave a fake cough, pretending not to. Then a thought struck him. Isn't this the perfect opportunity? He blushed slightly and said, "Actually, we both have mutual feelings. It's just that we've kept it quiet out of respect. Please, if you could help arrange things between us, and maybe invite me next time you have tea with her?" Helping young people find love was hardly something Mrs. Thompson could refuse. She smiled warmly. Of course. Auntie will make sure it happens." Meanwhile, two other socialites were grumbling to each other, complaining about having to perform such a ridiculous skit. Suddenly, the door to the room creaked open, and Jessica stormed in with a sour face. It didn't take a genius to see her attempt to tattle had failed. The two who had been watching the drama stretched lazily. "Looks like we'll just have to go with the flow," one said. After a long and busy day, practice finally wrapped up smoothly, and everyone left the rehearsal hall. He joked, "I only came because of the food at the Jade Pavilion. You'd better not forget our deal." Rania smiled at him. "Of course not. After all these years, I wouldn't dare skip even one meal." Just then, a syrupy voice called out from ahead, "Honey, I'm here to take you home." Who else could it be but her overbearing ex-husband? He stood there with a rose between his teeth, leaning lazily against his luxury car, striking a pose he clearly thought was charming. Rania found the sight downright blinding. Was he channeling some old movie fantasy or just hopelessly tacky? She walked right past him and told Leo Wei, "Don't mind this lunatic. Let's just head to the Jade Pavilion for dinner." The so-called domineering CEO was left standing alone in the breeze, wondering in confusion why his carefully crafted romantic gesture had completely flopped. Leo, thrilled at the mention of fine dining, could barely keep his mouth from hanging open in delight. But the ex-husband's temper flared. "So first you get tangled up with the Jade Pavilion's head chef, and now you're ignoring me for some foreign guy? You really like playing with fire, don't you?" Rania led the dance master she had invited, Leo Wei, toward the entrance of the Jade Pavilion. Suddenly, a thin young man came running up, throwing himself into her arms with joy. But then he shot a wary, hostile glance at the blonde man beside her. Leo simply smiled and waved. "I've heard so much about you. Guess I'll be freeloading here every day from now on." The young man immediately swapped his expression for a warm, businesslike smile and ushered them inside. "Please, come in and have a seat." Before long, several of the restaurant's signature dishes arrived at the table. Leo's eyes lit up as he showered the chef with non-stop praise. Rania quietly took a sip of soup. Just then, the lights flickered once and went completely out. The restaurant was plunged into darkness and the diners erupted in alarm. "Is this a power outage? I booked this table 10 days in advance and now this happens?" The complaints came all at once, filling the room with anxious noise. Meanwhile, across the street, Liam sat on a rooftop, binoculars in hand, smirking as he watched the chaos unfold. "Oh, you wanted a fancy dinner, huh? Enjoy it in the dark then. You like playing with fire? Let's see who plays better." Inside, the staff calmly began lighting backup candles one by one. As the host of the evening, Rania quickly stood up to reassure the guests. "Everyone, please stay calm. The Jade Pavilion promises to make tonight an unforgettable dining experience." She then took a microphone, stepped onto the small stage, and announced, "I'm the house singer here. To lighten the mood, let me sing a song for you. If anyone knows the lyrics, please join in." Moments later, her gentle voice filled the hall, floating beautifully through the candlelit room. The guests gradually quieted down, captivated by her voice. Everyone was in awe. Her singing was good enough to rival a professional diva. Across the street, her ex-husband, still perched on the rooftop waiting for something to go wrong, had no idea what was happening. His assistant, Alex Song, carefully reported, "Sir, it looks like they've lit candles, kept eating, and they're even singing now." Liam clenched his teeth so hard it was audible. "What are you standing there for? Go record it already," he snapped. 2 hours later, when Rania's voice was hoarse from singing, the power finally came back on. She had barely sat down and taken 2 bites of rice when someone called out, "It's 10 o'clock! Time to close up!" Leo looked at her in surprise. "Your voice is absolutely heavenly. The world deserves to hear it. How about I produce an album for you?" But Rania flatly refused. Leo sighed in disappointment. "You're so talented and humble, why hide it like this?" Rania wiped her mouth and said calmly, "I just don't like being in the spotlight." Leo pressed on, "But you're fine playing music. Why not sing?" Rania replied evenly, "Because my voice is too recognizable." Seeing she was firm in her refusal, Leo didn't push any further. Standing up, he offered, "At least let me drive you home?" To his surprise, she cut him off with a simple, "No." Leo let out a long, helpless sigh. This ice queen really was impossible to win over. Meanwhile, a young man nearby silently clenched his fists as he watched them leave. That man was none other than the restaurant's star chef, famous for his incredible cooking, though behind his cold, distant eyes now glimmered something far more dangerous. A waiter called out, "We're just about done cleaning up, you can head home and rest." The words snapped him out of his dark thoughts. As soon as the restaurant door clicked shut, the young man stripped off his chef's uniform. Underneath was a tight black combat outfit. He then pulled on a metal mask and tugged his hood into place. Without a sound, he slipped out through the restaurant's back door. The innocence from earlier was gone. Every movement now radiated a chilling, ruthless focus. Late at night, the young man walked straight toward a small, inconspicuous bar. After exchanging a series of coded numbers with the front desk clerk to confirm his identity, the clerk personally led him to a private room at the far end of the hall. When he pushed the door open, he saw a long-haired man wearing a golden mask lounging on the sofa. "So the last chef finally showed up," the man said lazily. The young man bowed respectfully. "Sir, what are your orders?" The man removed his mask. It was none other than Julian Hawke, head of the Hawke family, known for his dealings in the criminal underworld. With a calm tone, he said, "I need you to take care of someone for me." The next morning, Jaden, Rania's young assistant, drove her to the city's broadcast hall to check on how the debutantes were rehearsing for the evening gala. The two chatted casually for a while. Through the rearview mirror, Rania suddenly noticed an off-road vehicle tailing them. Jaden didn't quite process what she said at first. Growing anxious, Rania ordered him to turn right and speed up immediately. Acting on instinct, Jaden slammed on the gas. The car behind them, seeing the sudden acceleration, reacted quickly. The buzz-cut man in the passenger seat pulled out a submachine gun, cocked it with a click, and said coldly, "Doesn't matter. The dead can't talk anyway." Moments later, Rania's sharp ears caught the sound of bullets piercing glass. In a flash, she shoved Jaden's head down, barely managing to keep them both out of harm's way. Jaden was visibly shaken. "Wasn't this car supposed to be bulletproof?" he stammered. "They came prepared," Rania said evenly. "Those are armor-piercing rounds." Regaining his composure, Jaden glanced ahead. "There's a turn up ahead. If we go straight to the main road, we should be fine, right?" Rania shook her head. "No, we can't risk innocent lives." Then she swerved sharply toward the outskirts. "But our car's not fast enough," Jaden said nervously. "If we stay on this road, they'll box us in." Rania glanced at him. "Do you remember 4 years ago, when I first took over Macau? Back then, assassins from the Zodiac organization were after me," she continued. "You were driving, same position as now. And you took that crazy drift so hard you threw me straight out the window. The seatbelt didn't help one bit. I hit the ground hard on the side of the road, my head smashed against a rock, and I blacked out. When I came to, that psycho in the mask had captured me and injected me with a toxin called Fading Charm." A sharp pain twisted in Rania's chest. The memory of that day still burned vividly in her mind. Jaden was speeding like a maniac, cold sweat dripping down his temples. "Boss, please, if you want to reminisce or settle scores, can we not do it right now? You're gonna fry my brain here." Rania regained her calm composure. "That's when I learned something. Every car has performance limits. The higher the performance, the easier it loses control in emergencies, unless you surpass those limits entirely." At this point, Jaden's brain felt like it was about to short-circuit. "Boss, for heaven's sake, can you please just get to the point already?" Rania suddenly flipped open a hidden panel, revealing a second steering wheel. She told him flatly, "The answer is simple. A car needs 2 steering wheels." Jaden's 20-some years of understanding cars were instantly shattered. "What the hell kind of next-level move is this?" The two of them worked together, using both wheels to make a synchronized turn, darting into a narrow side road. The off-road vehicle chasing behind them shouted excitedly, "That road's straight for 10 kilometers. No turns, we can gun it and cut them off." The engine roared louder as the pursuers accelerated madly, but soon the driver realized something was wrong. Even at max speed, the gap was growing wider. The hitman riding shotgun muttered coldly, "Their car's been modded. If we can't catch them, we'll have to intercept from ahead." Just then, Jaden yelled, "What's wrong up ahead? Who the hell left obstacles on the road? I'm gonna crash!" Rania stayed calm and told him, "Duck." Then she swiftly pressed a red button. With a metallic clank, two sharp spikes shot out from the front of the car, flipping the obstacle clear off the road. Jaden let out a gut-wrenching scream as the obstacle smashed straight through the car roof. Meanwhile, the off-road vehicle behind them jolted over a few speed bumps. It launched into the air, flying straight over the debris ahead. The tires scraped against the guardrail with a screech, leaving the two men inside frozen in shock. The two men in the off-road vehicle sighed in relief, thinking they had finally survived. The lead hitman, drenched in cold sweat, said, "Forget it. Keeping our hides intact is more important. Let's just back off." But before he could finish, the driver shouted, "Something's wrong." The earlier crash had warped the chassis, jamming both the brakes and the accelerator. "We're done for!" he cried. Their faces went pale as death while Rania's car sped ahead, disappearing into the dust. What they didn't realize was that up ahead, the annual street racing championship was underway. The announcer's voice blared over the loudspeakers. "All racers have now taken off. Driver number 4 is currently in the lead and approaching the first technical curve of the track." In the stands, Liam had been dragged there by his younger sister Bella to cheer for her favorite racing idol. The commentators suddenly gasped when two unfamiliar cars burst onto the racetrack, even though the entrance was supposed to be closed. "Is this an accident? Should we pause the race?" they wondered aloud. Then the head referee suddenly yelled in excitement, "Wait, that plain car, that's the legendary RS-86. I'd recognize it even if it were ashes. That's the car driven by the Car God S 5 years ago." Everyone still remembered that winter race when Car God S had appeared out of nowhere, hitting an impossible top speed of 900 km/h, a record no one had ever beaten. He drifted through corners using inertia and water slicks, crossed the finish line like a meteor, and left before even taking off his helmet. "What are you all standing around for? Add Car God S back to the race roster. We're witnessing the legend himself again." Bella stared at the big screen, her nerves tightening as Car God S's car overtook every racer at an unbelievable speed, soaring to the lead. But that woman in the passenger seat looked oddly familiar. She turned to ask her brother, only to find his seat empty. He had vanished without a trace. Meanwhile, in the car, Jaden frowned in confusion. "Boss, why are there race cars on this road?" Rania replied calmly, "Let them race. It's none of our business." Suddenly, she looked up and saw the off-road vehicle flying out of a curve, hurtling down from midair. It crashed hard right in front of them. To avoid a collision, Rania yanked the wheel, sending their car into a front flip. But the angle was all wrong, a full 1.5 spin. The roof tore clean off, and they were about to smash headfirst into the ground. In that split second between life and death, Rania kicked off one of her high heels. Using it to brace against the ground, she leveraged the force to complete another half rotation. The car landed firmly on its wheels at last, while the off-road vehicle behind them exploded in a deafening blast, engulfing both hitmen in flames. The commentator was left utterly speechless by the godlike maneuver. He was completely at a loss for words, only managing to exclaim, "Car God will always be Car God." The car accidentally crossed the finish line, and Jaden, barely escaping death, gasped for air in disbelief as fans erupted into wild cheers, chanting Car God's name across the entire arena. Rania calmly pushed the still dazed Jaden out of the car and said with a smile, "Let's all give a warm welcome to the return of Car God S to the racing world." Moments later, poor little Jaden was hoisted into the air again and again by the ecstatic crowd. He was practically on the verge of tears. Why did his boss always have to make him the center of attention? Meanwhile, Rania, hoping to keep her identity hidden, quietly tried to slip away. But Liam suddenly appeared in front of her, blocking her path with a stern expression. "I honestly can't figure out how a woman who treats her own life so recklessly is still alive," he said coldly. Rania shot him an irritated side glance. "Whether I live or die, what's it to you?" Before she could finish, her ex-husband slung her over his shoulder. Struggling against him, she snapped, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" Liam lightly patted her backside and said, "Be good. Your heel broke. Walking around like that's a pain. I'm taking you to buy a new pair." That same morning, a manager was sternly reminding a young woman, "Elysian is the brand every high society lady is dying to wear. It's a symbol of status. Since the Bow Group is collaborating with them this time, you'd better make sure you perform well on stage. Selena sighed dramatically. I was planning to fake an injury just to tag along with the big boss for publicity. But instead, not only did I fail, I ended up actually getting hurt and stuck in bed for a month. My popularity tanked. Guess honest work really is the way to go. She quickly headed to the Elysian flagship store, where members of the press were already waiting. Smiling brightly, she announced that she'd be serving as store manager for a day and would personally present the brand's newest designs. At that moment, the gossip reporters spotted President Bow carrying a woman in his arms, and their curiosity instantly flared up. President Bow out shopping with his girlfriend? This is huge! They began snapping photo after photo nonstop. Liam cast a single cold glare in their direction. Keep shooting if you don't mind getting a letter from my lawyer, he warned. Selena froze, screaming internally, No, President Bow, don't be mad. Those reporters are the ones I paid to be here for exposure. Still in his arms, Rania finally spoke up. President Bow, you brought me here to buy shoes, not to interrupt someone's product launch. Besides, Elysian designs are nothing special. No need to buy anything here. Liam's expression didn't change as he nodded. Fine, let's go somewhere else then. He turned to leave, but Selena quickly stopped them. Excuse me, miss, she called out. Did you just say Elysian's designs aren't good? I can't just let that slide. She immediately launched into full PR mode, enthusiastically proclaiming, Elysian is one of the top fashion houses in the world. Their lead designer's work is priceless. If you think even Elysian isn't good enough, then maybe you should try shopping off the planet. Rania blinked, then told her ex-husband to put her down. She's about to float away from her own bragging. You're that confident in Elysian? Selena nodded firmly. Of course, naturally, though she felt a pang of insecurity as she said it. Still, as the store manager for a day, she had to keep up appearances, even if her confidence was all for show. Rania glanced at her and said coolly, Then I'll trouble you to pick a pair of shoes for me. Selena suddenly felt like Rania had shown up just to wreck the place. She quickly ran to the back office, telling the manager, That lady in the main hall, she's someone I can't afford to offend. Please help me pick out a pair of shoes for her. The manager frowned as she looked at the security monitor. Who's that woman wearing? Then her expression changed with excitement. Wait a minute, no way, Miss Rania is here. Ignoring Selena's confusion and shock, every employee in the store instantly became energized after hearing the name. Let's pick out the most perfect outfit for Miss Rania. Our boss must be doing a surprise inspection. With a respectful tone, one of them said, We noticed one of your buttons seems a bit scuffed, so while choosing shoes, we also prepared an outfit that matches your elegant style. Would you care to try it on? Rania didn't refuse. She went straight into the fitting room and changed. When she came out, she looked like a stunning, dewy rose, nodding slightly as if to say, This will do. The reporters were completely dazzled by her beauty. If someone this gorgeous ended up on the front page, today's Elysian product launch would definitely make national headlines. Rania, deciding she might as well help promote her own brand, smiled faintly and said, One photo is fine. Besides, Miss Wang has done a great job managing the store today. You might want to give her an exclusive interview. Out of nowhere, her overbearing ex-husband appeared, slipped an arm around her slim waist and said, If there's only going to be one photo, we might as well take it together. Rania didn't even look at him. She turned, gestured for Selena to come over, and invited her to join the picture. Selena couldn't really say no. She sensibly stood what felt like 8 feet away from Rania. Liam gave her a casual glance and said, This girl's got a good eye. Give her a raise later. When the photos came out, at first glance it looked like Selena had been photoshopped in. Standing beside those two, she just looked awkwardly out of place. The next day, when she opened her social media account, she froze. In just a single day, her follower count had tripled. Oh my God, this can't be real. Her assistant came running in, shouting excitedly, You didn't just get more followers. CEO Bo even praised you. He said to give you a big raise. Selena was so touched she almost cried. Miss Rania really is my lucky goddess, she thought. From now on, I'm officially a die-hard fan of hers, and of CEO Bo. Meanwhile, the passionate racing fans had surrounded Jaden, refusing to let him leave. You're the car god! Even if you're CEO of Serenity Pharma, we're not letting go. After a long while, a calm, commanding voice came from outside the crowd. Let him go. He's not the real car god. The fans looked disappointed, but eventually dispersed. When Jaden saw who it was, his expression darkened. Didn't expect CEO Bo to come bail me out? Since when are you this generous? Liam replied coolly, I just have a few questions I need to ask you privately. Jaden immediately tensed, guessing this must be about the boss. What kind of questions? He asked cautiously. Liam paused for a few seconds before speaking slowly. The poison inside Rania's body, its fading charm, isn't it? Liam rarely spoke in such a serious tone. CEO of Serenity Pharma, Jaden Jiang, you're also the second in command of the Dark Gate. What your organization does may mostly benefit the country, but let's be honest, your methods aren't exactly clean. The government only turns a blind eye to you because it's convenient. Jaden gave a cold laugh. Looks like CEO Bo has dug up quite a lot of information. Liam stared him down. Not that much, actually. I only recently learned that the person from the fragrance division affected by all this was tied to the leader of the Dark Gate. Can you tell me about fading charm now? He asked. But Jaden's face remained unreadable. He clearly had no intention of revealing anything. Just as he was about to leave, Liam spoke casually. That night, it was you who called me. Telling me to go save her, wasn't it? Jaden stayed silent for a long time, then suddenly turned around. I can tell you, but once you hear it, don't regret it. Time rewound to a gloomy, rainy day 4 years ago. Jaden, tormented, asked his boss, is there really no other way? Rania seemed to have made up her mind. The rarer the blood, the stronger its ability to suppress fading charm. I've searched every hospital record, and the only match is Liam Bo, a single male with a rare blood type. Jaden protested, unwilling to accept it. But what if he refuses? Rania's expression was calm, as if she had already accepted death. Then I die. He's almost here anyway, I'll go meet him. Outside the emergency room, a breathtakingly beautiful young woman stood in the rain, looking like she'd gone mad. She stopped random men on the street, asking if anyone would marry her. She didn't want money, fame, or love, just a marriage immediately. That was the scene Liam walked into. After being rejected by countless men, the girl was on the verge of collapse. Then, an umbrella appeared over her head. A tall, handsome man stood before her and asked gently, "What's your name?" Jaden's voice cut through the memory like ice. "Wake up, Liam Bo. Rania married you only to neutralize the poison. She never had feelings for you." A wave of loss washed over him. Liam's expression was complicated, full of emotions he couldn't name. He just wanted to find a quiet place to sort through everything. Jaden sneered. "That's it? You're just going to walk away without saying anything?" Liam, unwilling to back down, shot back coldly. "Watching the woman you love fall into another man's arms. Someone like you must think that's noble. Admirable, even." The remark nearly made Jaden choke with anger. He had always thought Rania was a golden bird he'd kept safe in a cage. But in the end, he realized he was the one who'd been trapped all along. That woman had never loved him. The reason she gave was so logical, so perfectly sound, that no one could argue with it. Still, he thought to himself, at least I'm still somewhat useful. I can still help her fight off the poison. Meanwhile, Rania had just stepped out of the shower when her phone suddenly started ringing. Who would be calling this late at night? She picked up the phone and saw it was Silas Shang. Her voice was calm as she greeted him. "Hey." The man on the other end stood by a floor-to-ceiling window and teased, "I heard you got divorced, is that true?" Rania didn't bother hiding it and replied bluntly, "You could say that. Aren't you overseas? You must be really bored to care about my personal life." The man chuckled. "Your marriage isn't exactly a small matter to your family," he said playfully. Rania's tone stayed indifferent. "Do whatever you want." Then his voice shifted. "I'm planning to come back next month for a while. Let's get together when I'm back." After hanging up, he casually picked up the metallic mask lying nearby. He slowly placed it over his eyes, a cold smirk curling at the corner of his lips. That stubborn girl. She'd rather marry some wild man she'd never even met just to save herself. She wouldn't even bow her head and ask me for help. So damn prideful. Now I'm curious. Now that she's divorced, did the poison ever get cured? Outside, a storm raged through the night. Rania, deep asleep, was jolted awake by the crash of thunder. "Guess I'll grab some water and go back to bed," she muttered. Just then, lightning flashed across the pitch-black sky, and she nearly choked on her drink when she caught sight of a dark figure standing outside the window. What the hell, was that a person or a ghost? Summoning all her courage, she went to look closer and saw it was her ex-husband. A sudden wave of anger rose inside her, sharp and unexplainable. She stormed out and grabbed him by the collar. "What the hell are you doing out here in the middle of the night? The door wasn't even locked. Why didn't you just come in? Standing out there in the rain like that? What, trying to look all pitiful? You think that's gonna make me feel sorry for you?" Her ex-husband mumbled something under his breath and nodded. Rania couldn't quite catch what he said, while Liam just stood there staring blankly at her. Then he raised his voice and said, "Yeah, I'm pretending to be pathetic in front of you on purpose, just to get a little sympathy, to trick myself into thinking your pity means you still care." Before she could react, he pulled her tightly into his arms, continuing, "If you're yelling at me, it means you still care. I'll take every insult as proof you haven't completely given up on me." As long as you're still talking to me, I'll take it as a sign you want to get back together. Rania struggled to breathe in his tight embrace, grinding her teeth. You really do fake being crazy better than anyone I've ever seen. Just then, Liam's body sagged slightly as he smirked and said, Once my wife, always my wife. You'll be mine for life. Rania, worried the rain had soaked straight into his brain, quickly dragged the lunatic into the bathroom. With a loud thud, she tossed him straight into the bathtub. Then she grabbed the shower head and sprayed him right in the face. Liam flinched, trying to dodge as his mind slowly started to clear. Annoyed, Rania told him, My boundaries don't change. You can twist that however you want. She threw the shower head at him and said, Finish your shower, then get out. Don't bother me while I'm sleeping. Once she left the room, Liam brushed his wet hair back and grinned. Hot water. She still cares. Guess I'll just keep shamelessly believing my wife secretly likes being stuck with me. The next morning, Rania woke up and found a neatly folded note by her pillow. Come to Serbia with me. I'll pick you up at 5 p.m. Her temper flared instantly. Unbelievable. He's really pushing his luck now. After breakfast, Rania headed to the city's broadcast hall to check on the rehearsal progress of the 20 debutantes show. Then she waved down a taxi and told the driver to take her to the high-speed rail station. Thinking about the note her ex had left, she snorted. Pick up what? Maybe the air, because I'm not going anywhere. Every day with him felt like watching a cheesy CEO romance drama come to life. If I don't get out of here now, I'll probably end up serving that man from head to toe like some personal maid. Suddenly, her eyes flashed with alertness. The road ahead was growing more and more deserted, and she quickly realized this wasn't the way to the high-speed train station. She glanced at the driver, whose face was expressionless, and asked coldly who he was. The driver didn't answer. Instead, he slammed on the gas. Trying to sound calm, the driver said, Don't panic, miss. I was just asked to take you to the airport. Rania let out a cold laugh. If you want to take me somewhere, you'd better have the skills to back it up. The driver replied evenly, Miss Rania, I suggest you don't make a move in the car. My driving skills aren't the best. Rania was momentarily speechless. Well, that's one hell of an excuse, she muttered. The driver, unfazed, pressed the pedal harder. Thank you for understanding my limitations, miss, he added with mock sincerity. 10 minutes later, the car pulled up at the airport, where a group of people was already lined up waiting for her. Rania scanned the group with a cold gaze. Their respectful posture was obvious, but she said flatly, Unfortunately, I'm not in the mood to fly today. Step aside. The lead driver opened the car door and said firmly, We were ordered to make sure you board the plane today, miss. If you refuse to cooperate, I'll have to be impolite. Rania let out a short, icy laugh. Is that so? Let's see what you've got then. Before he could react, she kicked out sharply, forcing the driver to dodge in alarm. After just a few exchanges, he was already sweating profusely, realizing he wasn't her match. Panting, he managed to say, Miss Rania, your skills are truly exceptional. We admit we're no match. So we'll have to abandon honor and rely on numbers, someone shouted as more men rushed forward. Moments later, the air was filled with groans and the sounds of bodies hitting the ground. Within 5 minutes, every single one of them was down, writhing in pain. Rania dusted off her hands and smirked. I didn't expect a once prestigious Marshall family to turn into Liam Bo's lapdogs. The driver staggered to his feet, trembling. Miss Rania, your eyes are sharp, but we're no lapdogs. We follow President Bo of our own free will. Rania scoffed, then strode out of the airport without a backward glance. The driver bowed slightly in defeat. Your reputation truly precedes you, he admitted. We were lucky just to exchange moves with you, he added weakly. At least the trip wasn't wasted, and besides, our mission is already complete. Rania frowned, puzzled by what he meant. From behind her came the sudden voice of her ex-husband. Honey, you're finally here. He casually grabbed her hand, frowning when he saw a small scrape on her skin. You fought that hard? Does it hurt? You've got a cut. Look, it's bleeding. Without waiting for permission, he pulled out a small bottle of disinfectant and sprayed it over the wound. Rania shivered, goosebumps running down her arms. Annoyed, she jerked his hand away. Cut the act already. Weren't you the one who sent people to block me in the first place? Don't play the saint now. Step aside before I hit you too, she warned. Liam just grinned and stayed in front of her. If you're gonna hit me, at least tell me where. Should I grab a whip for you? Rania didn't bother replying. She threw a punch straight at him. But her ex's reflexes were quick. He dodged with ease. Careful, honey, he teased. My face is thick enough to break your hand. Rania froze. This guy, he'd deflected her hit like it was nothing. She gave him a long, knowing look. Seems like President Bo's got more secrets than he lets on. Liam waved it off casually. We're the same, really. We were married 4 years. Neither of us ever asked too many questions. Rania sighed and extended her hand. Fine. You win today. Let's fly wherever you want. Dozens of hours later, the plane finally landed. Liam admired the beautiful sunset and said with genuine appreciation, "Serbia's a great place, not just for the views, but for the peace. No petty drama." Rania just hummed distractedly. Then Liam suddenly took her hand. "It's a shame your hands hurt. Otherwise, we could go soak in the hot springs later." That was the last straw for her. "You could have invited literally anyone else to travel with you. Why drag me into it?" Liam looked at her healed hand and said softly, "Because it has to be you." Rania pulled her hand free. "You're not about to confess some deep feelings, are you? Because let me make this clear. I don't like you. And I'm not going to take you back out of pity either." Liam just grinned foolishly. "Got it. You pity me and care about me." Rania glared. "Do you even understand human language?" Liam suddenly cupped her face, his tone turning serious. "I really do like you." Rania went speechless for a moment before saying, "I already told you I don't like you." Liam slowly leaned closer, his lips almost touching hers. "Then just use me. Exploit me. Take everything I have without giving anything back. As long as I'm still worth something to you, that's enough." Rania pushed him away angrily. "President Bo, could you at least try to have some self-respect? I don't need your pity, and I don't need your self-righteous sacrifices. Can't we just let each other go?" Liam shook his head firmly. If his wife wouldn't reveal the secret behind fading charm, he couldn't just stand by and let her suffer, physically or mentally. He swallowed hard, his face turning serious. "I've got my own reasons for going after that secret organization, the Zodiac. Having one more ally like you wouldn't hurt, would it?" Rania narrowed her eyes, thinking for a long moment. "So that's it? You're pulling all this just to form an alliance with me?" Liam suddenly leaned close to her ear, lowering his voice. "The person secretly developing the drug for the Zodiac goes by the code name Phoenix. There's a good chance it's the same Phoenix Master who vanished into the mountains more than 10 years ago." Rania's mind went blank for a second. Then flashes of vague childhood memories came rushing back. She was 6 years old when she was taken to a secluded mountain estate. There, a masked man with an icy voice had told her, "From this day forward, you'll train under me." The little girl had blinked her big eyes and asked curiously, "Who are you? Why are you teaching me?" The masked man had smiled faintly. "Because your mother and I once shared a bond. Before she passed, her only wish was that you grow strong and learn to fight on your own. As for how you address me, just call me Phoenix." Liam's voice brought Rania back to the present. He said he once knew the late leader of the Macau Alliance, who had passed his title to his top disciple, Phoenix. Rania was startled he knew about that and asked offhandedly, "How many more secrets are you hiding, exactly?" Liam looked at her with a teasing glint. "You really want to know?" Rania, though curious, turned her head away and said coldly, "No." Liam smirked. "Oh, I can tell. You're dying to know, but you'll never admit it." That one line set Rania off. "Seriously, where does your ridiculous confidence come from? In your head? Do my feelings for you even exist?" Liam leaned in again, his tone low and cryptic. "The more obvious your weakness, the easier it is to make your enemy underestimate you. I'm not pretending to be crazy, I just act arrogant enough to fool everyone." They continued sightseeing and trading sharp remarks, neither willing to back down, unaware that someone had already set their sights on them. Liam's eyes suddenly flashed. Realizing the danger, he grabbed his wife and dodged just in time as a bullet whizzed past from behind. He caught his breath and scolded her. "See? You were too careless again." Moments later, an explosion thundered from a nearby high-rise. Instinctively, Rania threw herself toward her ex-husband. Liam looked down at her, a faint, knowing smile on his lips. "Our fates," he murmured, "were bound together long before we ever realized it. Neither of us can escape." Meanwhile, deep inside a dark, damp basement, old Mr. Hawk sat motionless, his hands and feet shackled with heavy iron chains, his eyes blank and lifeless. A woman entered with a bowl of plain rice, no meat, no soup, and said flatly, "It's time to eat." The old man mechanically took the bowl of rice, guilt shading his voice. "It was all my fault. I bought her to celebrate my second son's marriage. I was wrong to do it." Then he grabbed the pleading woman's arm and begged, "Please let me go. I'll give you a large sum of money. Run away and don't deal with the Hawk family mess anymore, please." The woman wrenched her arm free without a hint of mercy, rubbing her eyes and saying, "I'm sorry, I can't let you go." She turned to leave and froze when she saw Julian Hawk leaning in the doorway, watching the scene with quiet amusement. No one knew when he'd arrived. She dropped to her knees in terror, stammering, trying to explain what had just happened. Julian coldly lifted her chin. "You, second aunt, did nothing wrong. Why are you kneeling?" The woman trembled so violently she couldn't form a sentence. He released her and waved a hand dismissively. "Get up and go." I want to speak with the old man properly. He stepped in front of the bound elder, plastered on a fake smile, and asked with mock concern, "My dear grandfather, how are you feeling today?" Mr. Hawk looked at the grandson he'd come to despise, and sighed. What I did back then was out of desperation, for the sake of the Hawk family. Enraged, Julian grabbed the old man by the hair and barked, "Who are you trying to fool? You handed my aunt over to those perverted beasts to abuse, and now you want to wash your hands of it? You turned my mother into a laughingstock for the elite? Is that your idea of your deepest love for this family? The way you acted as a father and grandfather?" Mr. Hawk lifted his scarred, sorrowful face. "I suffered for the family. When the chain of our businesses was broken, your mother stepped forward to deal with them to save the Hawk clan." Julian sneered and picked up an iron hammer with practiced cruelty. "After all this, you still have the nerve to lie. Looks like the last time I broke your knee didn't do the job. Time for a little more." What followed were hard, hammering blows. The echoes of the old man's screams and curses filled the cellar as Julian berated him. "You're an animal. How did I end up with such an inhuman grandson? You call my mother a slut. Without the Hawk name, she'd be nothing. Now look at you." Julian kicked the old man's legs, leaving him crippled on the floor, then laughed cruelly. "Now I hold the power of the Hawk family. Your youngest, your favorite, lies paralyzed in bed, and your other grandchildren are only fit to be my servants. I'll have you watch as the empire you built crumbles under my hand. I want you to see the whole Hawk family dragged to hell with me." Hidden by the doorway, the woman who'd been listening to Julian's almost deranged screaming and the atrocities he committed to the old man felt a terror well up from the depths of her soul. She knew she had to find some way to stop this madman. Assistant Alex, shaken, rushed into the restaurant. "There was a shooting at the hotel just now. Are the boss and madam okay?" Rania looked up at him, her expression mixed. "Liam is calmly eating. What's there to panic about? I'm not dead yet. Find the police and demand an explanation. If this doesn't concern us, we won't push it further." Alex bowed and slipped away to do as asked. Not long after, a phone chimed. A mysterious message arrived. The sniper was sent by the Zodiac organization. After we discovered them, they detonated the bomb and perished in the blaze. The intended target was likely Miss Rania. Rania shot him a glance. "You've gone out of your way to hide these secrets, sending them through special channels and covering every trace. Yet now you're showing them to me so casually?" Liam replied indifferently. "Why would I need to hide anything from you?" Rania picked up a piece of food with her chopsticks. "And why would you have any reason to tell me in the first place?" Liam tilted his head, looking at her seriously. "Because I want to know your secrets. To prove I'm sincere as an ally, I have to reveal mine first." Rania let out a mocking laugh. "Honestly, my disguises aren't that deep. With your skills, you could find out everything about me without breaking a sweat." Annoyed, Rania said, "You've got some nerve. Aren't you afraid I might secretly stab you in the back?" Liam took her chopsticks and fed her a piece of braised pork. "If you wanted to deliver justice, that would mean I must have done something truly unforgivable." He looked at his wife with a gaze full of deep affection. After a brief silence, Rania couldn't hold it in any longer and exploded. "Got any clean chopsticks left? The fact that you find my saliva disgusting just proves you don't care about me. You even bit my chopsticks, look at the dents. Why don't you use your own? Get out, right now." Meanwhile, Julian's second aunt nervously reported to the family head. "The assassin Julian sent after Rania has failed. The person who ruined our plan was from Bureau 6. It was us who leaked Rania's location. Will the higher-ups hold us responsible?" Julian's face remained expressionless. "No one cares about a few small fry dying, but that Rania Sue, she's something else." Bureau 6 is a formal government agency. They never get involved in private feuds. Yet this time, they crossed the border to act over a single woman. And the leaders of the Zodiac organization seem to have had their eyes on her for quite a while, too. Such an intriguing woman. Instead of following orders to eliminate her, maybe we should give things a little push. Let the Zodiac organization go down together with the entire Hawk family. After saying that, he stroked the golden mask in his hand, lost in thought. At that moment, the 4 members of the Sue family were happily gathered around the dinner table. The Hawk family had recently invested a large sum into their company and sent an invitation for them to attend the old man's birthday banquet next week. Rania's mother's eyes lit up as she turned to her eldest daughter. "It's rare for our family to get this close to the Hawk family. Fiona, you must seize this chance." The eldest daughter confidently brushed her hair back. "Don't worry, Mom. With my looks, it won't take long before I've got young Master Hawk completely hooked." "If that guy falls for you, he must be possessed," her younger sibling teased. Fiona, unfazed, said proudly, "Please, I'm the most attractive woman in the world." Just then, they heard the door click open, and Rania walked in gracefully, carrying gifts. Her stepmother smiled falsely. "Oh my, you really should call before you come home. We could have prepared dinner for you." Robert chimed in. "She's right. Why the sudden visit?" Rania responded lazily to the two phonies, her tone cold. "I came to see Grandma. Why isn't she eating with everyone?" Fiona was just about to say Grandma was. Her mother quickly covered her mouth, sounding a bit panicked as she said that she had registered her for a senior tour group a few days ago. She had already gone on the trip. Rania, a little suspicious, set the gift down on the table. Though this household could be unpleasant, her grandmother was still her father's mother. Surely they wouldn't go so far as to mistreat her. As she was thinking that, she heard a few faint, raspy coughs, seemingly coming from the storage room. "Alert," she called out, asking who was coughing. The woman stammered, saying that it was just the housemaid who had fallen ill, and that such a small matter wasn't worth her concern. Before she could finish speaking, Rania slapped her across the face. Rania suddenly shoved the door open, froze for a moment, and then felt a surge of burning rage rise within her. There on the floor, her grandmother was curled up on a thin rug, coughing weakly, her breath shallow and fading.